Chapter 64 No explanation. It is my fault. Xiao Sanlang struck his own head. He looked so anxious. What should we do? Brother, please help me think of a solution. Xiao Yunduan frowned. Brother? Xiao Sanlang got anxious. You can't watch me suffer just because you have married such a good wife. I even helped you drive away bad people in the past. Qiao Xian could not help but throw a look at Xiao Yunduan, who happened to be looking at her. Qiao Xian was smiling and Xiao Yunduan instantly withdrew his look. He could not make it clear to his brother about his actual relationship with Qiao Xian. How can I help you? The girl is good, but her brother and sister-in-law want 80 liang as the wedding gifts, not a one less. What can you expect mom to do? Xiao Sanlang was struck speechless. Qiao Xian was surprised too. No wonder her mother-in-law did not approve of the marriage, even though the girl was good and her son loved her. It was Yang Xiaoni's brother and sister-in-law who were the issue. 80 liang, that was really too much. It seemed that they believed Yang Xiaoni was the girl whom the man loved, and that their sister would be able to get a lot of wedding gifts from her future in-laws. If they had only asked for 20 liang, then her mother-in-law might have tried her best to offer that. Xiao Sanlang let out a sigh of disappointment. That couple is just crazy. They bully Xiaoni every day and make her do all kind of hard work. They even starve her. Brother, she is really suffering from a terrible life. Oh please? Xiao Sanlang turned to Qiao Xian, sounding hesitant. Before he could say anything, Xiao Yunduan said, Stop it. Xiao Sanlang let out a sigh of disappointment and said nothing. Qiao Xian got it. The brother-in-law wanted to ask for a loan from her dowry, and hence, Xiao Yunduan interrupted him when he found it not to be proper. Qiao Xian had no intention of getting involved, but now she turned a little soft-hearted. She asked in a soft tone. Brother, can you talk with mom about having a talk with the Yang family? Maybe they are just asking for a price randomly and we can negotiate the bride price. No one else would offer such money either. Honestly speaking, even if the girl is sold as a maid to some rich family, the price would be 20 liang. The Yang family should know what to do. Xiao Sanlang did not feel that he was offended. Instead, his eyes sparkled. True. You are right, they should know that marrying Xiaoni to me is the best deal. Thanks, sister-in-law, I will talk with mom about it. Qiao Xian smiled. You are welcome. Xiao Sanlang smiled and turned to Xiao Yunduan. You think I can make it this time? Xiao Yunduan said, I am not sure. They could not predict what the Yang family would think. His mother had been to the family twice, and the couple should know about his brother's affection towards Xiaoni. His mother's third visit would make things worse, maybe? Xiao Sanlang looked annoyed. Can't you say something nice? Xiao Yunduan sighed. Pretty words don't work. Xiao Sanlang. Xiao Xian chuckled. As they returned home, they chopped the orchids and Xiao Xian went to the kitchen to make some more dishes. Chapter 65 Coldness. Xiao Taotao and Xiao Xiaoqi were waiting for Qiao Xian and they cheered as they caught sight of her. Fifth sister-in-law, we have already dealt with the chicken, rabbits and yams. We are all waiting for you. Even Ms. Fong and Ms. Su were wearing a look of expectation. They all liked the dishes Qiao Xian made. In the past, they only knew how to stew and braise wild roosters and rabbits, but she was able to create different ways of eating which they never got tired of. Gradually, the whole family became slightly biased about Qiao Xian's food. As for her splurging of oil, salt and seasoning, well, they could just ignore that. Qiao Xian nodded with a smile and went into the kitchen with her sleeves rolled up. They had 3 wild roosters and 2 wild rabbits. 2 of the rabbits were hidden, unknown to the other sections of the family. When the ants from the other 2 sections came to get a wild rooster for each of them, Miss Fong ignored them. They only had 1 wild rooster and 1 rabbit for her own family, and the other wild rabbit could be left for tomorrow night. The yams were stewed with chicken and porcinis, whilst rabbits were fried with chili and garlic. Then she soaked a handful of fungus that had dried 2 days ago, cut water celery into sections, sliced yams with an oblique knife, and stir-fried them together. Not only was the dish fresh and delicious, but the color looked really bright as well. After that, she fried a dish of lettuce. The yams were diced and served on the table after being well placed. Soon she made 1 more dish of sugar-coated yams. As they were about to eat the food, Xiao Xian told everyone to eat the sugar-coated yams first. It would not taste good when it gets cold. The whole yams had been cooled with a layer of amber-colored syrup, looking crystal clear and beautiful. Even the air felt sweet, delicious and attractive. Everyone started to pick up the chopsticks. Oh, it is so delicious. It is very sweet and nice. How did you come up with this idea of making yams? Let me eat some more. Miss Su was surprised too. She, on one hand, gave some to her children while stuffing a lot into her own mouth. She believed that the dish would taste equally good even after it turned cold. Miss Fang was also a little worried about the sugar, thinking that Miss Qiao had used too much of it. She was going to tell her to save some sugar even though it was bought with her own money. Seeing her grandchildren enjoying themselves, Miss Fang said with a smile, "You have eaten so much, third son. Don't eat any more, spare some for Junyan and Qing." Eldest uncle was eating as he started to speak. "All children like it. We can spare some so Tao Tao can share some with Xianwen and Wan later." Xiao Xianwen and Xiao Wan were the grandchildren of the second uncle. Cold air spread across the table the moment the words were spoken. Xiao Xian pursed her lips. "Was enough." Miss Fang sneered. "We have very little ourselves and we will get troubled by the second and the third sections of the family. I don't think they will get enough of our food." Xiao Sanlang nodded. "True." Then he stuffed a slice into his own mouth again. Xiao Junyan had just finished what he was given in the bowl and he wanted to have some more. But Miss Su did not dare to take any more slices after hearing what her father-in-law said. She consoled him by patting his back and offered him wild roosters instead. Miss Fang did not care. She gave Xiao Junyan some more and said, "Lovely grandson, we barely have a chance to eat such a thing, take as much as you want." She did not want to share anything with any other sections of the family, when she had her grandchildren to take care of. Chapter 66. Not countering eldest uncle's face sank. Xiao Yunduan said, "Dad, just eat your food. We can share some things when we have more in the future." Xiao Xian smiled. "True, when we have sugar next time, I can make half a basin for them if they want." As for the dishes on the table, she had full control of them since she bought them with her dowry. Miss Fang snapped. "I won't buy this much sugar." Eldest uncle was stuck with anger. Why was Miss Qiao talking about her dowry all the time? He simply had no way to counter her. He could only abstain from eating every dish bought with her dowry. But there was nothing else he could do. After all, he could not stop the others from eating the dishes. Eldest uncle suddenly felt very sad. It seemed as if he were like an outsider though he was the master of the family, whilst the others present belonged to another family. Xiao Xian had no idea what Xiao Sanlang said to her mother-in-law, but she found that her mother-in-law looked very gloomy the following morning. After breakfast, Miss Fang asked Xiao Xian to come to her side. "Miss Qiao, could you please accompany me to a place later?" She had been feeling embarrassed when she first started the conversation, but gradually she got excited. Honestly, that couple of the Yang family are goddamned hooligans, right? Eddie Liang? Do they think that Yang Xiaoni is a fairy? We are trying to talk about marriage but they are selling their sister. They want nothing but money. They annoyed me so badly last time. But Yang Xiaoni is a very strong girl and she can do a lot of labor work. Moreover, my son loves her, but what can we do about her family? And this son of mine seems to be so obsessed with her. What do I do about it? Miss Fang made a lot of complaints and told Xiao Xian that she was very clever, so she hoped that she could keep her company while visiting the Yang family. Miss Su was not reliable. She did bring Miss Su with her last time, but the daughter-in-law did not dare to utter any words. She just stood there motionlessly like a piece of wood. Xiao Xian would not turn down her mother-in-law's request. She consoled her and said with a smile, "Mom, if you like that girl from the Yang family and my brother loves her, then I will keep you company. But how much do you want to offer as a wedding present to them? We need to have an estimate for the bottom line figure." Miss Fang suddenly felt her heart ache. They had no savings at home. The other sections of the family kept their eyes glued upon all the income she earned from selling pigs, chickens, ducks, eggs, beans and even peanuts. Xiao Yunduan was quite frugal at school and often earned his pocket money by copying books in exchange for paper and ink with bookstores. She also hunted many animals which brought in some income. But Xiao Yunduan's wedding almost cost them everything they had. So she had less than 10 liang in savings. This was after accumulating the change she earned as well as the payment she got from Xiao Dalong's salary from Xiao Xian as well as the 5 qian Xiao Xiaoqi offered to her a couple of days ago. She decided to borrow 2 liang from some friends because by the end of the year, she could get 10 liang after selling the pigs. 10 at most or 11 liang no more. 10 liang was already a large amount. Villagers did not have a rich life, and for those who had the intention of starting a martial relationship, 3 or 5 liang would already be enough. 6 or 7 liang would mean a large wedding. Chapter 67 meaning 10 liang was already over the top. But the Yang family had asked for 80 liang and 10 liang might not work. Mom? Xiao Xian smiled. What about me offering 10 liang as well and together we have 20 liang? Listen to me, Mom, I don't do housework and third sister-in-law might not like me after she comes to our family because of my laziness. But if I pay the 10 liang here, she will not be able to say anything bad about me. Then we will have one large happy family. I'm actually taking advantage of you all. Miss Fong was startled. After thinking about it, she could not utter a word in response. She sighed. Miss Qiao, this is, Mom? Qiao Xian smiled. My husband is studying at school and you all support him. So it is our duty to make contributions to the family. When my husband gets a promising job in the future, he is going to take care of the family. Okay. Miss Fong patted her hands slightly. It is Duan's luck to have married a wife like you. If he ever treats you badly, you have to tell me. I will teach him a lesson on your behalf. No matter whether he is going to have a promising future, he will never betray you. Qiao Xian's heart turned warm and she said with a smile, Mom, I will keep your words in mind. If my husband treats me badly, I will report him to you directly so you can hit him. Miss Fong smiled. Of course, of course. You are so nice, Mom. Outside the room, Xiao Yunduan left from there, but he felt that his feet were floating high on the air. His head had turned messy. He really had no idea what this woman was thinking about. What did she mean? She should not have made such an offer. Moreover, it wasn't so nice to say things so boldly. What was she thinking all the time? After Qiao Xian and Miss Fong were done with the discussion, they headed to the Yang family together. Yang Xiaoni's parents passed away ages ago, and her brother Yang Liang and sister-in-law, Miss Tian, were both lazy and greedy. They should have gone out for work by this hour, but in the Yang family, only Yang Xiaoni was forced to do the hard work whilst Yang Liang was just idling around and Miss Tian was lazing around at home. Seeing Miss Fong coming over with her daughter-in-law, Miss Tian's eyes sparkled. Oh hey, you are here again, come in and take a seat. She sized up Qiao Xian and displayed a look of greed. She showed a hidden smile. This daughter-in-law of yours couldn't have been born in the countryside. She must be your fifth daughter-in-law, the daughter of the county magistrate, right? Oh, she looks so beautiful. Only a cultivated talent can be a match for her. Miss Fong knew what Miss Tian was doing. But she was happy to hear what was being said, so she added. My daughter-in-law is a very good girl. Of course. Miss Tian showed a smile and sent her elder son to get his father back. After a few sentences, Miss Tian asked purposefully, What are you doing here? Miss Fong was cursing her inwardly. This Miss Tian was trying to calculate Miss Qiao. But for her stupid son who had fallen for Yang Xiaoni, she would not have walked into a family like this ever in her life. Who would want to hang out with someone like this? Miss Fong smiled. Let's wait until your husband comes back. Miss Tian smiled and said confidently, Of course, my husband makes decisions for all kinds of important things in the house. Soon Yang Liang hurried back. He looked at Miss Qiao and Miss Fong, greeting them happily. Chapter 68 Yang Xiaoni's happiness. Yang Liang was sizing up Qiao Xian while they were talking. He looked greedy and indecent. Qiao Xian felt very disgusted. Miss Fong sank her face and coughed. Yang Liang, you two know what I am here for. We think that Xiaoni is very diligent and kind, so we need to talk about the wedding gift. Yang Liang and his wife exchanged a look between themselves. They looked really proud. They knew that the Xiao family would be coming to them. Miss Tian snapped inside her heart. What was so good about Yang Xiaoni? Xiao Sanlang was so obsessed that he just wanted to marry her. The Xiao family was a good family. Why should Yang Xiaoni go and enjoy herself? Miss Fong was not a very good-tempered woman, and they even had one cultivated talent at home. It was said that the second and the third section of the family were not very good-tempered either. So they needed to find some way to control them. The little bitch Xiaoni was good-looking enough to marry anyone. She should stay at home and do some more labor before she married some old man as a concubine. That was a better plan. Miss Tian believed that as long as Yang Xiaoni married someone bad, she could be flexible with the wedding gifts. It was because of this thought Yang Liang asked for a very high price as wedding gifts. Otherwise, Yang Liang would have said yes about the Yang family marrying Yang Xiaoni. Yang Liang smiled. Miss Fong, my sister is very good-looking, and she is worth around 100 liang. If you want to have her as part of your family, you won't care about this little amount of money, would you? What are you talking about? Miss Fong was both surprised and angry. 100 liang? You raised the price. And this little amount of money? Did the Yang family have this much? Yang Liang said, Of course you have got a rich daughter-in-law. Why do you care so much about this little amount of money? True. Miss Tian showed a false smile. When your fifth daughter-in-law held the wedding, she had 26 sets of dowry. That is more than 100 liang, right? Yang Liang nodded in agreement and then added, 100 liang and 6 sets of cotton garments. Miss Tian said, also, a pair of silver hairpins and 1 pair of bracelets. Miss Fong got so annoyed. How dare you say these things? We can have any girl as a daughter-in-law we want, yours is not necessary. Miss Fong was so annoyed. She had never met anyone so disgusting. Miss Tian let out a snort. She said slowly, Miss Fong, you have a 5th daughter-in-law who has so much dowry. You don't even want to pay this much money. I think it is because you are not actually sincere. Miss Fong snapped. Miss Qiao has full control of her dowry. We would never covet it. Also, we would never pay so much to marry someone home. Stop dreaming. It seems we have nothing to talk about anymore. Miss Qiao, let's leave. Miss Fong regretted having paid such a visit. It was so humiliating. She swore that she was not going to be here ever again. She was not going to bring in young Xiaoni as her daughter-in-law either. She was going to teach her 3rd son a lesson. She was going to find another suitable girl for him so he could forget about young Xiaoni. Mom? Qiao Xian patted Miss Fang's hand and said to them, young Xiaoni is 18 years old. You want to keep her until she becomes too old? If we have her as the daughter-in-law, we will definitely not treat her badly. You really don't want to allow her to be part of our family, right? Chapter 69 Xiao Xian's idea. Yang Liang was startled and started to hesitate. He knew pretty well that but for Xiao Sanlang's affection towards Xiaoni, no families would turn their eyes upon a family like them. Miss Tian sneered. You don't have to worry about a thing. Xiao Xian suddenly realized what was going on. Miss Tian was trying to make this marriage not happen. All families were worried that their girls would be too old to get married, yet Miss Tian feared nothing. She did not care about young Xiaoni, nor did she care about her reputation. She disliked young Xiaoni. No, she hated her. We want to offer 20 liang as a wedding gift. Are you not going to consider it? No, no way. Think about this and we will come to you in a couple of days, said Xiao Xian and left with Miss Fong. Mom, let's go to the village and find the land officer there. We can ask the chiefs of the Yang family for help. Miss Fong sighed. Silly girl, it won't work even if we speak with them. They can't make the decision either. Yang Liang and Miss Tian are a greedy couple and they won't listen to anyone. It was always the parents who decided who their daughter should marry, and when the parents were gone, their siblings would make the decision instead. Who else could have the authority? Xiao Xian sneered. Mom, we don't need them to have the decision-making authority. What we need is just to let the Yang village know that we are here to establish a marital relationship sincerely. There should be a turning point after that. Miss Fong, who was angry, suddenly turned lively. She nodded. We can discuss this in detail. We should let everyone know what is going on and at least we can make the couple feel bad. Miss Fong did not think that there would be any turning point, but she could at least vent the anger. So, they headed to the land officer of the Yang village and then they went to the chiefs and aunts. All of them could not help but sigh. Soon the story spread all over the whole village. Yang Liang and his wife are crazy. Xiaoni is very pretty, and the Xiao family are so devoted. How could they say no? True, that is 20 liang. My daughter's wedding gift was only 6 liang. The couple is really terrible, you know? Miss Tian lectures and hits Xiaoni and she has to do all the labor of the family. They would not want to marry her away. But Xiaoni has grown up. Are they going to keep her next to them forever? That is just too immoral. How dare you marry a girl to their family? It is definitely a pit. Poor Xiaoni. She has no parents. Her brother is such a useless man and her sister-in-law is stingy. Sigh. Poor girl. Poor girl indeed. Yang Liang was so humiliated that he did not dare to go out. He was the brother, yet he was doing something wrong. Miss Fong got really annoyed. She cursed at Miss Fong and Miss Qiao, and then she called the villagers nosy. They were not in the position to discuss their family affairs. It had nothing to do with them. I can marry my sister-in-law to anyone I want. None of your business. I don't care about the goddamn Xiao family. You can take them from me if you want to. Chapter 70 Miss Tian's fierce words. Miss Tian cursed the whole village and everyone who heard her could not help but shake their heads. They were looking down at her. It was a common thing if a sister-in-law did not like her husband's sister, since stepmothers never liked the children from the previous marriage. Yet Miss Tian's behavior was way over the top. She was not only forcing young Xiaoni to work hard and feed her no good food, but was also trying to ruin the rest of her life. Why was she not satisfied with the Xiao family? They were far better than the Yang family, and they even had a cultivated talent in the family, who could have a promising future. They had offered a high-priced wedding gift as well, worth 20 liang. The Yang family had never seen a wedding gift of over 20 liang. The couple was asking for far too much. They craved for 100 liang as well as silver hairpins and bracelets as well as the best cotton. They were not really devoted to the marriage. They were trying to annoy the Xiao family. Miss Tian complained all over the village, and someone reminded Yang Liang about his wife's behavior that might offend the whole village. If she caused a bad name for herself, their sons would never have any wife in the future. Only then did Yang Liang pull Miss Tian back home. On the way home, Miss Tian kept cursing loudly. Her two sons were too young to consider a potential wife. Miss Tian could not help but get annoyed when she saw Yang Xiaoni back at home. She lectured constantly. Yang Xiaoni had her own way of survival and was used to being lectured by this sister-in-law of hers. She ignored those unfriendly words and also idled about when she was supposed to be working out there. She was trying her best not to exhaust herself. Miss Tian was extremely fierce today. But she ignored those words as usual. Miss Tian could not help but stand up and slap Yang Xiaoni's face. She screamed, "Bitch, what are you wearing this expression for when I am speaking with you? Can't I just tell you a few words when you live under my roof? You have to turn to me and ask for my permission if you want to marry into a good family. Let me tell you, you are never going to marry anyone good. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." Thanks. Yang Xiaoni was startled. She got annoyed, furious, irritated and scared. With hands over her face, she rushed out. Yang Xiaoni had 2 large handprints on each of her cheeks, as she ran all the way to Third Grandma Yang and Third Grandpa Yang. She was begging in tears for help. Third Grandpa Yang was her grandpa's brother, and he was the close relative to the Yang family when her parents were still alive. The two families had a relatively good relationship. Yang Liang was useless and Miss Tian was rude, so during the past few years, no one from the village had the interest of hanging out with them. But when Yang Xiaoni came to the door and begged for help, Third Grandma Yang and Third Grandpa Yang could not help but feel moved. "What, Miss Tian hit you? That is so cruel." Third Grandma Yang gasped as she said in a pitiful tone. She became increasingly annoyed when she thought of how Miss Tian made ruckus across the whole village earlier that day. Soon, some chiefs and land officers were invited to Third Grandpa Yang's home. It was not a good thing if a rude and wild housewife was living in the village. The Yang village would be laughed at by others. They had to do something about this. Yang Xiaoni felt slightly assured and stood there respectfully. Xiao Sanlang had come to her secretly on the ground earlier and told her that if her sister-in-law hit her, she should go to Third Grandpa Yang for help with tears in eyes. She had not fully understood what was the reason for him saying so. But her sister-in-law did hit her. Chapter 71. The villagers look. If the chiefs and land officers could help her realize the wish, that would be great. Soon Yang Liang and Miss Tian came over. Yang Liang's face sank as he glared at Yang Xiaoni. This damn girl had reported them to Third Grandpa Yang. What a heartless girl. Miss Tian cursed Yang Xiaoni fiercely. "You bitch, what are you being so crazy for? I feed you and give you a place to live, but you are not satisfied with it and come to report your brother and sister-in-law to the public. How dare you?" Hearing that she was turning the truth upside down, the chiefs and land officer as well as the villagers were disgusted and irritated. "Miss Tian, what are you talking about? Shame on you. You aren't afraid of being punished by heaven?" The land officer said coldly, "Miss Tian, we have rules in our village. You are the Yang family's daughter-in-law, and you should not ruin your family's name. Your in-laws are dead and Xiaoni has been working so devotedly for years. How can you treat her like this? Yang Liang, how dare you bully your sister like this? Aren't you afraid that your deceased parents would turn into ghosts and come to you at night?" Yang Liang cringed and stood in the corner, showing a little fear. Miss Tian shouted, "Land officer, you should not wrong me. This bitch. Xiaoni has grown up and she can't just live under our roof without doing anything, right? Every girl in the village works. You don't know that this girl is really lazy and tricky. She is greedy and craves food all the time. If we don't urge her to work, she won't even move an inch. I have to teach her as a sister-in-law all the time. I am teaching her a lesson, not bullying her. Who says that I am bullying her? Come and show me the proof." "You." The land officer was very annoyed. The villagers exchanged a helpless look among themselves and could not say a thing. It was a family affair that could not be explained clearly. No one could stand up and show the proof. How could there be a proof for something like this? Miss Tian showed a look of pride and snorted. "Bitch, what are you staying here for? You should remember which family you are living under. She meant to tell her that she was living under her roof. Young Xiaoni was sobbing as she grabbed third Grandma Yang's arms. No, I am not going back. She is going to kill me. Shut up, that is enough, what are you talking about? Yang Liang was annoyed too as he snapped at her in a fierce voice. This bitch should not have spread bad things about the family to outsiders. You two treat her like this in front of us. How can we trust that you treat her well behind our back? Third Grandma Yang said annoyedly, I watched Xiaoni growing up and she is a really good girl. How can you think that you are reasonable when you lecture her in order to do this and that all the time? Miss Tian, don't think so highly of yourself. Just because no one can prove it doesn't necessarily mean that you have done nothing. You know pretty well what you have done. Everyone can see that you have done something bad. Watch out for repayment. Okay, now, I am going to ask you what you are going to do with Xiaoni's marriage. Miss Tian was feeling so annoyed and cursed this old grandma for being nosy. She snorted. That is our business. This is the Yang's family, and when your parents were alive they respected me enough. Xiaoni calls me third grandma, so I have the right to ask you about it. Miss Tian was about to say something when third Grandma Yang said coldly, Yang Liang, you are the master of the family. Are you going to keep Xiaoni until she gets too old to marry someone? Are you sure this is the right thing to show respect to your parents? Chapter 72 Irritation. Yang Liang forced out a word. Of course not. Then, just make a decision about her marriage. Yang Liang was staggering. Oh, we are trying to find a suitor for her, aren't we? Oh yes. Third Grandma Yang sneered. Xiao Dakin's family offers you 20 liang, but you still don't think that is enough? What kind of family do you plan to find? Miss Tian said, the Xiao family is so rich. If they want to set up the marriage, they need to offer more than 20 liang. They are looking down at us. We can't marry her to the Xiao family. So, you find someone better? The land officer said, the Xiao family has a lot of money, but the money is at their disposal. 20 liang is well over the standard for a village wedding. Miss Tian immediately responded. We are seeking a good suitor for her all the time. Nonsense. Third Grandma Yang was terribly annoyed by the shameless words spoken by Miss Tian. Miss Fang and Xiao Xian had gone to their home for help. Moreover, Miss Fang gave her the money, which was enough for buying at least 300 kilograms of rice. That pleased her a great deal. Miss Fang had even suggested that she was going to offer more money if the marriage worked out well. Third Grandma Yang had naturally agreed to help. She felt sorry for young Xiaoni, but she was not part of the family, so she could not say something rashly. Also, Miss Tian was a very fierce woman and no one would dare to irritate her for no reason. But things were different at the moment. Young Xiaoni came to ask her for help in tears, and she, as the elderly woman in the village, could not just push away the girl under such circumstances. That was why she decided to get involved. Miss Tian had managed to irritate the whole village, and this was the best time to do something about it. Third Grandma Yang said coldly, I will tell you this today, Xiaoni is a poor girl and she is asking me for help, so I will not leave her alone. If you are not satisfied by the Xiao family's proposal, you need to find someone better than the Xiao family quickly. Xiaoni is no longer young and she can't wait. You have to settle this marriage for her within 1 month. Yang Liang, you better bear in mind that young Xiaoni is your sister. Miss Tian, we can't allow this thing to spread outside our village. If you continue to cause trouble, you better go to the ancestral hall and get your mind cleared. The other chiefs nodded in agreement. Everyone was looking at Miss Tian with disgust. The reputation of the Yang family could not be ruined because of this woman. Miss Tian was very annoyed as she glared back at young Xiaoni. We are a poor family and we have no parents who defend us. You all are bullying me and we have nowhere to express ourselves. Third Grandma Yang got so annoyed that she glared at Miss Tian. This woman was very tricky and annoying. What she said could just make anyone hearing her words get irritated. Third Grandma Yang got very annoyed. She was a respected elderly woman who had never been countered by anybody younger like this. She would not allow this woman to oppose her publicly. If she retreated now, she would be humiliated as well. So, Third Grandma Yang stuck to her suggestion, and the land officer as well as the chiefs, all took her side and held a grudge against Miss Tian. No matter how Miss Tian tried to turn the truth upside down, Yang Xiaoni's marriage would most likely be settled in the way as Third Grandma Yang had suggested. It had to be settled in 1 month's time. If they did not like the Xiao family, the couple needed to find someone who exceeded the Xiao family in some way. Chapter 73 Dumb. Since she kept saying that they were doing this for young Xiaoni's sake, Then alright, do it for her. Young Xiaoni did not want to go home with her brother and sister-in-law. Third grandma, land officer and chief grandpas, could I just stay at the ancestral hall? I can do all kinds of work. Third grandma, I can work for you, but please just give me some food. I don't eat much, really not. Young Xiaoni cried so badly as she did not let go of third grandma Yang's arms. Everyone felt sorry for her but could not say a thing. The ancestral hall was very sinister, with no one living there and nothing except for the ancestral tablets. Only those who made big mistakes would be ordered to live there. Otherwise, no one else would do so willingly. This girl must have got so frightened that she could not think clearly. If this couple had any conscience, this girl would not have made such a request. Both Yang Liang and Miss Tian were furious. What are you doing? Just follow us home quietly. Why are you going to the ancestral hall when you have a home? Yang Liang's veins were almost popping out on his forehead. This ungrateful girl. Miss Tian sneered. This damn girl is thinking about doing no work. Don't listen to her nonsense. Yang Liang got even more furious. He tugged at Yang Xiaoni and said, just shut up and come home with us. Yang Xiaoni cried loudly. Please save me, third grandma Yang, please. No one should live in the ancestral hall for no reason. Third grandma Yang sighed and said, it is okay, Xiaoni, just go home. If anyone hits you or lectures you, just come to me and I will seek justice for you. We are a family and we should not allow anyone to preach or hit people. We will teach her a lesson if she dares to do so. We need to make sure that the whole clan is clean and has a good reputation. The other aunts also came to console Yang Xiaoni, who was still crying out of fear. All the bystanders felt very sorry. What a pity. She was a nice girl, but with such a couple as the brother and sister-in-law, she was going to suffer a great deal. In the end, third grandma Yang asked Yang Xiaoni to stay at her place overnight and leave the next day. Yang Liang and Miss Tian glared at Yang Xiaoni and left. The bystanders all sighed, shook their heads and also left. Back at home, Miss Tian kept hitting Yang Liang whilst cursing him. Yang Liang felt so annoyed that he started to dislike Yang Xiaoni as well. She was just asked to do some labor work. What was she being so stingy for? Her brother and sister-in-law were supporting her. In return, she did not even want to help with some work. Worse, she even got her brother and sister-in-law humiliated in front of the whole village. Daughters always turned their elbows out against their own family. Miss Fong learned of what happened at the Yang family the following day. She told Xiao Xian about this, but she also felt quite worried. Xiao Xian consoled her. Don't worry, Mom. Yang Xiaoni seems to be quite clever and she won't lose much. Miss Tian won't dare to kill her anyway, right? Mom, what about reminding third brother that he should not meet Yang Xiaoni privately for some time? What if they were caught? That would be very bad. Miss Fong agreed and told Xiao Sanlang about this. Xiao Sanlang was very anxious. He was afraid that Yang Xiaoni would face trouble. But he did not dare to do a thing, especially since his mother warned him not to be impulsive. Xiao Xian's land was finally ready. There was no brick wall around the patch, but bamboos were set up around the perimeter. Behind that, all the iron fences dug from the mountains were put up and wild roses, which could climb along the wall, were planted as well. Chapter 74. Xiao Xian smiled. Xiao Xian had transplanted all those plants from mountains and later, she was going to use her superpower so they could grow beautifully. When Xiao Dalong was helping with the fence, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were getting ready to buy some flowers in the city. Xiao Xian smiled. Actually, Qi and Tao Tao would be enough to come along with me. This visit might waste your study time. I don't want Mom and Dad to blame me. Xiao Yunduan said, it is fine, I also need to walk around a little. She was his wife, at least in name, and it was normal that he kept her company on her trip. The Qiao family did not treat her well. What if they ran into the Qiao family and she was bullied by them? What would Qi and Tao Tao be able to do about it? Xiao Xian smiled and accepted the offer. There was only one flower store in the city, and offered just a few kinds of flowers. Xiao Xian bought all the flowers including pomegranates, jasmines, gardenias, cloves, Chinese roses, ordinary roses, sweet-scented osmanthus, white orchids. The bullock cart was filled with them. The florist was very happy and even gave her some rebate. All those flowers were very commonly seen varieties, and the whole thing cost her only 2 liang. The flowers were unloaded and Xiao Xiaoqi as well as Xiao Tao Tao came over to help carry the flowers under Xiao Xian's instruction. Miss Su, who had been working on the fences, joined them too. Miss Su was smiling happily. She had been very motivated to work recently. She got up when dawn broke and had even taken over all the housework, including washing clothes and dishes, even feeding the pigs before coming to the land to help. The land work wasn't an easy job, so Qiao Xian gave them a raise, making it 31 a day. Qiao Xian got a pair of scissors, and she cut away many twigs of those flowers and planted them into the earth directly. It looked quite easy. Miss Su could not help but say, "Fifth sister-in-law, I know how to plant Chinese roses. Would this make it grow properly?" Qiao Xian nodded with a smile. "Yes. They are just ordinary plants and this method surely would work. The budding would happen very soon, within a few days." "Oh yes." Miss Su was a bit suspicious but did not think that her fifth sister-in-law would lie to her. She smiled. "Are you going to sell those flowers, but how?" Qiao Xian blinked and smiled. "Well, I will keep it a secret for now. You will know when the time comes. In fact, I might need your help too then." Miss Su understood that when Qiao Xian asked for help, she always paid, so she smiled and said, "No problem, just tell me what to do and I guarantee that you will be satisfied with my work." Qiao Xian nodded with a smile. "Thank you in advance, elder sister-in-law." When the fences were ready, the plants were all growing well, especially Chinese roses and ordinary roses, which grew very fast at this time of the year. Qiao Xian used a bit of her superpower and no one found the growth strange either. But the volume needed was far beyond anticipation. Qiao Xian told the village that she was collecting Chinese roses and ordinary roses as well as some other flowers and would pay between 1 to 21 for one branch. The whole village was excited. What is the fifth daughter-in-law of Xiao Dakin's family doing? Flowers don't make money. Chapter 75 Unreliable. Ah, the daughter of a rich family is just too unreliable. She is just burning money because she is rich. See? I knew that the Xiao family could not do anything about her. It is such bad luck that they have a daughter-in-law like this. It is not bad luck. She is wasting her own money, and the Xiao family are taking advantage of her money as well. That is true. Anyway, I am going to the mountain for a walk. Me too. The villagers all went into the mountains suddenly. There were many wild flowers and grass everywhere in the mountains, especially ordinary roses and gardenias which were really easy to find. Those flowers, which were ignored in the past, were flourishing in front of her. Due to what happened with young Xiaoni, Xiao Xian was really favored by Ms. Fang, who would not say a thing about what she wanted to do. Ms. Fang was open-minded. She was spending her own money and had her own ideas about what to do. She, as the mother-in-law, should not get too worried. Nor would anyone else in the Xiao family say anything about it. But eldest uncle did not like it. He said involuntarily, "Miss Qiao, the land is open now. You can plant some peanuts, beans, taros and sweet potatoes which may help with some income. What are you planting flowers for? They are just good-looking and not at all practical. It is such a waste." Qiao Xian smiled and explained, "Dad, I am going to keep some bees and the flowers are for them. They don't ruin the land." Bees? Eldest uncle was startled and found the whole thing even more unreliable. Bees are not easy to keep. Just drop the idea there are flowers everywhere in the mountains and the bees can go anywhere they want. Why would they come here? Qiao Xian smiled. "My flowers are better and can offer more honey." Eldest uncle. He shook his head dejectedly and sighed. She was just so unreasonable. This daughter-in-law of his was so arrogant and never listened to the elderly's words. How annoying. He went to Ms. Fang and asked her to persuade her. Ms. Fang blamed him for being too nosy. She believed that it was not necessary to intervene in the matter. Eldest uncle got so annoyed. He just did not like Qiao Xian at all. But there was nothing he could do. Second uncle and third uncle both came over in anger. Both of them snapped at Qiao Xian for being unreliable and not fulfilling her promise. They saw that Xiao Dali and the other three were still working. Qiao Xian had forgotten about her promise of hiring them. "Why don't you let us do this easy work? You are paying outsiders and not thinking about us." "True, brother, that is so unreasonable." Qiao Xian sneered inwardly. "Letting you work? That was like paying people in vain." Xiao Dali and those who were working for her were completely devoted to the task. They were not dragging their feet, and that was why Qiao Xian had raised their salary. If the second and the third sections of the family were to do the work, the task might not even be finished in 3 days. They were all full of tricks and she had seen through them how they tried to cheat the first section of the family again and again. Before Qiao Xian was able to speak, Xiao Yunduan walked out of the room and said, "Second uncle, third uncle, brother Dali are already very familiar with what they are doing right now. We can't just fire them halfway. We can talk about this next time." Second uncle got furious. "What are you talking about? You are just making up excuses all the time." Chapter 76 Xiao Xian's confirmation. Xiao Yunduan shrugged his arms. Well, there is nothing I can do about it. Second uncle and third uncle got very annoyed. Brother, what do you think of this? What do you want my dad to do about it? Xiao Yunduan said coldly, we are all from the Xiao family, and brother Dali is not outside the family either. You are trying to make us offend our family members? Eldest uncle opened his mouth and closed it. What about this, Miss Qiao? You can ask second uncle and third uncle to offer some help tomorrow too. They are elderly people of the family and you should pay them well. Xiao Xian said, oh, but I don't have any money right now. If our uncles want to offer help, they will only get paid when I have money. Normally, that basically meant that she was not going to give them any money. Second uncle and third uncle got very annoyed. They immediately turned down the idea. Xiao Xian spoke up again. I just don't have any money right now. She had no money and the uncles should not possibly force her to offer money, right? Xiao Yunduan was standing next to them, and as a cultivated talent, second uncle and third uncle did not dare to counter Xiao Yunduan. So they kept making complaints to eldest uncle instead. But Xiao Xian did not care. If her father-in-law was lectured by his two brothers, it was not her fault. She was not that kind as to stop them. After all, it was her father-in-law who was willing to get blamed because of his kindness. There was no other way they could do it and get away with it if not for his willingness. Miss Fang could not stand it any longer. She came over and drove away second uncle and third uncle, who left in a fury. Eldest uncle was so annoyed. Yunduan, you are a learned man, and you should understand that we need to have a harmonious family. How could you have said something like that to our family members? Xiao Xian, she just ignored this blame because it was not pointed at her. She was not going to make a connection. Xiao Yunduan said, family members should understand each other and know how they should love their family. Second uncle and third uncle are just confused at the moment and soon they will understand what is going on. Eldest uncle, Xiao Xian almost burst out into laughter. Second uncle and third uncle got so annoyed that together with their wives, they went around the village and spread the rumor that Xiao Xian was not treating her family well. Everyone knew what the second and the third section of the Xiao family were like, so they all laughed away the rumor. Some who were jealous of the first section of the Xiao family added some fuel to fire, but those who sold things earlier did not say anything more after being countered by Xiao Xian a while ago. Xiao Xian had bought wood from them and paid them. Xiao Xian had even told them that she was going to offer a lot of chances for more money making. So, they were not going to earn her money and gossip about her at the same time. Xiao Dali and his wife as well as the cousin's family were all on Xiao Xian's side. They were so used to the work and Xiao Xian continued to hire them. It was so much less painstaking. They were not outsiders and how could hiring them be something that was not reasonable? Xiao Xian had a regular schedule of buying wood every evening and those who wanted to sell would meet her at the determined site. When the B box that was booked before was delivered to them, she put the 30 boxes up in the predetermined place. After that, she went into the mountain with Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao to find the honeycomb. Flowers and bees were not only for the honey. The most important part was that she was going to get bee wax, pomegranate flowers and rosebush, to make lipsticks from those red flower juices and essential oils. Chapter 77 One step after another she had already given advance to the carpenters to make the molds and porcelain tubes for lipsticks. She just needed the original materials to be put in. When the work at the land was finished she was going to get the bee wax and when the tubes and molds were completed, she could start her attempts to make those things. Lipsticks were attractive to most women even in the modern time. She firmly believed that after she managed to make the lipsticks here, she was going to get a constant stream of money for herself. The blushers sold at the market were not at all convenient, and they dried easily. Moreover, the colors did not blend well. Lipsticks in tubes were always going to be more convenient and would have better quality. Apart from lipsticks, she was going to extract oil for perfume as well. She had the superpower and she could be quite sensitive about the smell and taste. So, the whole process should be smooth enough for her. Well, she was a rural wife and she was not going to expose the plan to outsiders. She needed to make a good plan about it. When the lipsticks business kicked off, she was going to plant mushrooms to make medical herbs. She was going to take one step after another and not rush into anything. Most importantly, she had to be in charge of everything. Xiao Xian turned down Xiao Yunduan's request to keep her company to find honeycombs in the mountains. Just study at home. It is not an easy matter to finish within a few days. Dad and Mom would blame me if you spend so much time with me. I have made so much effort just to please Mom, you know. Anyways, Qi and Tao Tao are fairly familiar with the mountains and with them around, I won't miss a thing. Xiao Yunduan could not counter her. Since he had decided to be well prepared for the examination, he was going to earn a good rank, and for that, he needed to work hard. So, he should not spend so much time with her in the mountains every day. But can you just not go into the mountains? Xiao Xian smiled. Only I know what to do about the honeycombs. Xiao Yunduan said, where did you learn all of this? Xiao Xian chuckled. Maybe it is natural talent? I am interested in these and I pick up knowledge by reading. Her father's biggest function was to serve as the shield for her. She could just claim that whatever she was good at was learned from her father. Xiao Yunduan would never be able to prove otherwise. He was not going to do anything to prove that either. But what she had not expected was that when Xiao Yunduan heard what she said, he started to imagine a scene where he saw a skinny, poor girl who was left alone in the study and read lots of strange books. Xiao Yunduan could not rip her off from the hobby which she had been interested in since childhood. He nodded hesitantly. Just come back early and don't go too deep into the mountains. She knows the mountains well. You should always ask him for directions. Watch out for the ground, it is so hot nowadays and there are bugs everywhere. Xiao Xian nodded with a smile. Xiao Yunduan was still not assured. He turned to Xiao Xiaoqi and asked Xiao Xiaoqi to take care of her. Xiao Xiaoqi said with a smile. Don't worry, fifth brother, I will definitely keep fifth sister-in-law safe and not lead her to the dangerous spots. Then the three of them went into the mountains. With the help of her superpower, Xiao Xian soon found the honeycomb. Then she used the bee box to lead the bees to move in. Due to Xiao Xian's superpower, the bees were very willing to get close to her. They were not afraid of her, and the work was completed much more easily than she had anticipated. Chapter 78 Paid Work. Apart from honeycomb, Xiao Xian also harvested some wild honey as well as beeswax. She had a large woven twine bag with a custom-made flat and light wooden barrel that was just right for honey. Honey tasted sweet and smelled good. It was a precious delicacy for farmers. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were very happy. They already had a deep fondness for the sweetness. But Xiao Xian did not allow them to eat too much because that would ruin their appetite and they would get tired of it easily. She was going to take the honey back, then extract the essences and store it in a jar for a long time. It would not go bad in this manner and they could eat it for a very long time. Honey was a great thing. If it could be put on the meat while grilling and deep frying, the taste would be excellent in dishes like sweet and sour rib bones. The idea had a lot of appeal to Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao, who were drooling constantly. Xiao Xiaoqi had been to the mountains frequently, but he never dared to touch the honeycomb, nor had he ever gotten any honey. Xiao Xian was asked to teach him how to extract honey. Xiao Taotao was a bit worried about bees, but she was out there to give it a try. Xiao Xian taught them the tricks. She needed someone to look after her bee box, and they could be in charge of this task in the future if they knew what to do. Anyways, she was going to pay them for it. Apart from seeking honeycombs and getting bees and honey, they spotted a few trees like wild-growing ordinary roses, gardenia, osmanthus, which they brought home on the way. It was never easy to fill up the 60 mu flower land, especially with ordinary roses and pomegranates, which were the original ingredients for lipstick making. Whenever they found the ordinary roses, Xiao Xian would drive away Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao first, and use her superpower to make them grow first. After the whole day in the mountains, the three of them brought home 5 honeycombs, and got 2 barrels of honey as well as 2 bunches of ordinary roses along with some delicious mushrooms and 2 wild roosters which Xiao Xiaoqi managed to capture. They were carrying them with shoulder poles. They ran back and forth 3 times and eventually got all their harvest home. When they finally entered, Xiao Xian came to Xiao Yunduan and smiled. I am back. These words suddenly made Xiao Yunduan feel assured. He almost felt a bit happy. He could not help but show a look of gentleness and said quietly, Good that you are back. Did you run into any trouble? Of course not, all went well. We were really cautious. Xiao Xian exchanged a few words with him and went to sort out her harvest. Xiao Yunduan smiled, seeing her retreating figure. Then he went back to his studies. The moment they went home, they hid the honey in Xiao Taotao's room. They were never going to let the second and the third sections of the family know about the honey. They were so shameless. Second uncle and third uncle, who failed to take advantage of money from her as wages, asked Xiao Miling and Xiao Xiaoji to visit the first section every day during the lunchtime, because they knew that Xiao Dali was fed there. They were 2 young girls and it was quite normal that they ate lunch at their uncle's home. So, they were not driven away. Also, eldest uncle got happy when they kept calling him uncle cutely. Miss Fong rolled her eyes. The 2 girls had been taught in the wrong way. They were asked to take advantage of people and were going to ruin themselves one day. They were going to suffer a lot in the future. Chapter 79 Anger Vent. Sure enough, when the honey had just been hidden, Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma arrived, together with Xiao Xiaoji and Xiao Meiling. Miss Fong shared a rooster with them. Dalong and the other boys have worked very hard these days, and Yunduan has been devoted to studies and he needs to get supplements. You can share one. If you think it is too little, you don't get any. When they heard work, they glared at Xiao Xian, but when Miss Fong talked about Xiao Yunduan, the two aunts could not possibly say anything against that. They left with one rooster, annoyedly. Chi gets back things even less than earlier. Yes, just 2 wild roosters in one day, not good enough to share. Miss Fong snorted. She had an open mind and did not want to split hairs with these 2 annoying people. But after her 5th daughter-in-law came to their home, their family situation had been raised compared to before, which made Miss Fong feel good. Miss Fong said to Qiao Xian, "Let me tell you, Miss Qiao, Yang Liang asked someone to pass on the message that they want to see us tomorrow to talk about the wedding gifts. Damn Yang Liang, it serves him right. Your idea worked." Miss Fong felt quite happy to have vented her anger. Really? Qiao Xian got happy and said, "Then I will go with you tomorrow." Miss Fong snorted. "Not tomorrow. We don't have to be in a hurry." She should not let that man get what he wanted so easily. Qiao Xian smiled. "Mom, let's just go tomorrow morning. We should not split hairs with people like them. We are going to show our sincerity to the Yang family, right?" Miss Fong came to her senses. "You are right, let's go tomorrow." She and Xiao Xian had put on a show at the Yang family to display their sincerity. If they slowed down all of a sudden now, the efforts they made earlier would get wasted. Yang Liang passed on the message through a messenger, rather than come to the door personally, because he thought that they would not want to visit him out of anger. But they were not going to fall for the trick made by him. Qiao Xian told Miss Fong about honey, and Miss Fong was both surprised and happy. She went into Xiao Taotao's room and had a look at it along with Qiao Xian. She had a small taste of it and her eyes sparkled. "It is a rare thing. You are so lucky as to get so much honey without being stung. Some villagers were bitten all over their faces when they tried to get the honey, including your 3rd brother. You are so lucky. Pharmacies in the town would want to buy things like this and the price is not low." When Xiao Xian decided to keep the bees, she was going to extract a lot of honey. But she did not care about the honey except, "When I purify the honey, I will keep it in the jar and sell it in the city." The honey that was newly harvested was full of small things, and it needed to be purified, so was beeswax. That was going to open a road for her in making a fortune. Miss Fong did not know anything about her plans, so she nodded in agreement to whatever Qiao Xian said. Her daughter-in-law was a noble-born lady, and had vast knowledge about everything. Hence, everything she said should be right. Since it was still early, Qiao Xian went to help with some work in Xiao Taotao's room. The first section of the family was filled with people, and there would be more and more in the future. It wasn't always convenient to do something. Chapter 80 Your Abilities. Qiao Xian was thinking about building a new house and was going to make a plan for it. At least she should have a yard belonging to herself. The room should be enough for her to use. Only in this way she could close the door and stop outsiders from prying. She did not worry about her own family, but the issue was the 2nd section of the family and the 3rd section of the family. The following day after breakfast, Qiao Xian kept Miss Fong company on the trip to Yang Liang's home in the Yang village. After Yang Xiaoni made a fuss the other day, Miss Tian got so annoyed that she had a huge fight with Yang Liang as well. She did not want to say anything but waited until Yang Liang did something himself. Even if Yang Liang didn't cater to her satisfaction, she was going to get involved anyway. Yang Xiaoni came back home the following morning. Miss Tian could not help but glare at her, sneering. "You shameless bitch, now you have humiliated both of us. You can just leave our home if you are so brave. How dare you think about marrying someone good, bah?" Miss Tian did not stop nagging her, but Yang Xiaoni ignored her words. She made breakfast and drank the porridge before going out with farming tools on her shoulders. It was much better to work outside than stay at home. What should we do about her marriage? Should we ask the Xiao family again? Yang Liang was feeling annoyed. Where else could he find someone better than the Xiao family? The Xiao family was the best choice so far. He could not get 100 liang, but 30 or 40 would be enough too. No. Miss Tian simply did not want Yang Xiaoni to have a good life. Useless person, can't you think about any other method to deal with that bitch? Why must we stick to the Xiao family? Yang Liang was annoyed too. You can go and find one if you want to. Miss Tian sneered. You pighead. Why can't you just find some rich landlord or a man who has lost their wives or something? They would offer a good price too. Yang Liang was startled and got angry with her. You want my sister to become a concubine, or the widower filler? Are you crazy? I am not crazy. Miss Tian snapped as she shouted at him. She never feared him. Instead, she got even more intimidating as she spoke. Your sister? I don't think she regards you as a brother. Let me tell you, I am sure that when she marries the Xiao family, she will not even take a look at you. You know what Miss Fong is like, right? If she is a widower filler, she can at least understand that she needs her natal family's help in the future. Also, what is so bad about being a concubine of a rich landlord? They have food and servants, and old men know how to take care of the young. She is always going to have a good life there. What is so bad about that? Yang Liang fell into silence. He said hesitantly, You said that if she marries the Xiao family she will disown us. But I am her brother. Miss Tian sneered. If she treated you as her brother, she would not have reported anything to those elderly people in the family, and would not have humiliated you. Yang Liang was silent again. He thought for a while and understood that his sister was not very close to him. If she distanced herself from her natal side after she got married, that would not work. He was looking forward to getting help from her in-laws' family. Chapter 81 Taken advantage of. He had realized that they did not have a close relationship, and Miss Fong was not very easy to deal with. Besides, Miss Fong had a daughter-in-law who was the daughter of the county magistrate. By that time, the Yang family might not be able to take any advantage of the marital connection. Persuaded by his wife, Yang Liang decided to marry Yang Xiaoni off to a landlord as the concubine. But he had a very narrow network. When he eventually found one landlord who intended to get a concubine, he proposed 20 liang as dowry and was beaten by the slave. The landlord got extremely annoyed. She was just a countryside girl and the family needed 20 liang? That was crazy. The landlord was not going to be taken advantage of. 6 or 8 liang would be the maximum amount. Furious and annoyed, Yang Liang went to a widower. That turned out to be an even worse decision. Those widowers who would like to remarry were all poor. They could barely afford a wedding gift of 3 or 6 liang. The poor one waved away the proposal when he heard that the wedding gift should be at 20 liang. Everyone had difficulty in making money. 20 liang for one daughter-in-law? That was not worth the while. Half a kilo of rice was only 7 won, and a wedding gift at this large amount was just beyond the possibility, even if the girl might be a fairy from heaven. Wives were married by men to spend their days with and give birth to babies. What did they need a fairy from heaven for? Yang Liang got so distressed after being turned down so many times. If they failed to find anyone else who would like to offer the wedding gift, the Xiao family would be the only choice left. Miss Tian shouted at Yang Liang for being useless and then she sneered. That goddamn girl is a part of our family. We are her brother and sister-in-law, acting like parents for her. I can marry her to anyone I want. No one has the right to get involved. Why must our business be in charge of anyone else? It is against the ethical standards. But Miss Tian could do nothing except make some complaints at home, since 3rd Grandma Yang had already made the announcement in public and the land officer, as well the chiefs all nodded in agreement. Despite her fierce temper, she knew pretty well that she could not make chiefs and land officers change their decision. If she dared to make any more complaints, 3rd Grandma Yang did have the right to trap her inside the ancestral hall where she could be abused. What a nosy old woman. Yang Liang did not want to hear what Miss Tian said anymore. He decided to go to Miss Fong to pass on the message and talk about this matter. Annoyed, Miss Tian thought for a while and said, I will pass on the message. It is not proper for a guy like you to do anything about it. Yang Liang, who had been humiliated to the bottom of a valley already, was glad that Miss Tian could handle the matter instead of him. Miss Tian did not go there personally. Instead, she paid a messenger 2 times to pass on the message and stressed to him that he should treat the Xiao family badly. She was going to make sure that Miss Fong got so annoyed that she would not want to visit them. In that way she could tell others that the Xiao family did not want to marry Yang Xiaoni, and in this way she could marry Yang Xiaoni to anyone she wanted. She hated the goddamn sister-in-law of hers, and she was not going to allow her to live happily. However, Qiao Xian came over with Miss Fong. What she had not expected was that Qiao Xian and Miss Fong did not come to her home at all, but went to 3rd Grandma Yang's home directly. When 3rd Grandma Yang sent someone to fetch Yang Liang and Miss Tian, the couple was still wondering what was going on. Seeing Miss Qiao and Miss Fong, Miss Tian's face changed and she screamed. What are you doing here? 3rd Grandma Yang got annoyed and she sneered. I am also involved with Xiaoni's marriage. Why can't they come to my place? Since we are all here, we can have a thorough discussion. Chapter 82 Miss Tian's sneer. Third Grandma Yang even brought 2 more grandmas as witnesses. Annoyed and unconvinced, Miss Tian said, "It is not proper for us to have the discussion at someone else's home, right? She is my sister-in-law." Third Grandma Yang ignored her and asked Yang Liang, "Am I the senior family member of the family? Is it proper to have the discussion here at my home or not?" Yang Liang dare not say anything against that. He mumbled incoherently and said nothing else. Miss Fang sneered. "This is a major matter of happiness. If we have senior family members as witnesses here, it is your good fortune." Yang Liang and Miss Tian glared at everyone in fury, yet did not dare to say anything more. Third Grandma Yang smiled. "I am an experienced person and I should take good care of the junior family members in case they go on a twisted path. We are all a family and are concerned about all members of the family." Miss Tian sneered and cursed inwardly. Well, since the incident was mentioned, Yang Liang was forced to agree, but he said that the wedding gifts needed to be renegotiated. 20 liang is way too little. You are a rich family and you can't be compared with other families. She is my only sister, and I need to see if you are sincere enough. Okay, I don't need 80 or 100 liang, but we need at least 40 liang. Third Grandma Yang gasped. She had not fully believed that the Yang family would want 100 or 80 liang as Miss Fang had put it earlier. She had thought that the latter was just exaggerating. But hearing what Yang Liang said, she realized that she should have believed Miss Fang at the beginning. Miss Fang sneered. "I am sincere enough, so I offered 20 liang. Were you able to find anyone else who would like to offer 20 liang during this period? We are here today because we don't necessarily need your sister. If you don't accept 20 liang, then we will drop the matter." Miss Tian added. "Then we drop it. We don't care about your family. Our sister can always be married to anyone. I don't think that our sister would have a good time with your family, seeing how you are like right now." "You?" Xiao Xian smiled. "Then you can ask Ms. Yang if she is suffering with you or enjoying living with you. As for our family, we sister-in-laws respect our mother-in-law. What our mother-in-law is like is not to be determined by you. The whole family knows what she is like. You are just making yourself a laughingstock by claiming so." Miss Tian forced a false smile. "Oh well, we are not as good as you. No mother-in-law will have any courage to mistreat you." Xiao Xian said, "It seems that this lady is just being tough. She doesn't seem to understand what others are talking about. I don't have anything to argue with you, you can do whatever that pleases you. It is all in your imagination. We have enough people to prove how we are." Third Grandma Yang snorted. "Yang Liang, 20 liang is enough, and you have to remember the condition of 1 month's time. Just think about this. If you do anything more pestering, we can all gather to teach you a lesson. We are a family with rules. Miss Tian knows nothing, but you should. 15 years ago, a horrible woman irritated her mother-in-law to death, so her sister-in-law killed herself in the river. Even though she had many children, she was still trapped in the ancestral hall for her entire life and she became mental in the end." Third Grandma Yang glanced at Miss Tian and said calmly, "If our family can't even keep a horrible woman at bay, then no good girls would dare to join us. Gradually, our family would have no good offspring in the next generation." Chapter 83 Accident. Miss Tian's face changed. She shivered and started to panic. Yang Liang did not counter the old woman, so the tale was real. She knew pretty well how she treated young Xiaoni. Now the bitch had decided to start a war with her, and even spent the night at Third Grandma Yang's home instead of her own house. The way she was behaving was so annoying. What if she caused a huge mess? Miss Tian did get frightened hearing what Third Grandma Yang said to her. Third Grandma Yang felt slightly better and prouder as she managed to talk down Miss Tian. "I think we can settle the arrangement here. 20 liang as the wedding gift. Yang Liang, anything you want to say?" "What? Okay, nothing to say." Third Grandma Yang said resolutely and settled the argument. "Pick a date and exchange the engagement card." Miss Tian, who was furious and jealous, found that she was losing. So she snapped. "But I don't have any dowry to offer and we can't afford to host a banquet." Any family would turn around and walk away when they heard those words. But Miss Fang did not really care about those things, otherwise she would have died out of anger long ago because of what the third section of the family and the second section of the family did to her family. She could clearly see that Miss Tian was evil and she was doing all of this on purpose. So, in order to win the argument, she was going to say yes to the marriage at any cost. Also, her useless son insisted on marrying young Xiaoni. So Miss Fang nodded constantly. Okay. We just like Xiaoni and don't care about her dowry. Third Grandma Yang suddenly felt really jealous. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. How could her own daughter fail to have such good luck? Feeling even more furious, Miss Tian said annoyedly, I don't have much food to give to someone else's daughter-in-law. Since the marriage is settled, you should take her away as soon as possible. That was exactly what Miss Fang expected to hear. Okay then, after the Dragon Boat Festival in May, we will pick an auspicious date for the wedding. Miss Tian sneered and added. You should not look down at us. You must hold one wedding on the same scale as the one you held for your fifth daughter-in-law. Miss Tian. Third Grandma Yang sank her face. How dare you compare the village girl to the daughter of the county magistrate? What scale? If you ever cause trouble to the Yang family, we will all go down together. In other words, what she meant was that the county magistrate was not in the same category as these people, and if the county magistrate learned about the comparison, he might not be happy. The other elderly grandmas also had stern expressions on their faces, and snapped at Miss Tian. Xiao Xian sneered and threw a disdainful look at Miss Tian, as if she were going to take revenge on her without warning. Miss Tian turned slightly pale and did not dare to say anything more. When this errand was settled, Miss Qiao and Miss Fang left together. Miss Fang smiled at Xiao Xian. You have helped us a lot. Xiao Xian smiled. No worries, Mom, we are a family. You treat me so nicely and third brother has helped me a lot too. This is all I can do to repay you. Miss Fang laughed. Oh my child, you are so adorable. It was Xiao Xian's idea to come to third Grandma Yang's home for the settlement. She even had 2 bottles of honey and 1 patch of cotton cloth to offer. Those gifts delighted third Grandma Yang greatly, and she spared no efforts to defend them in every way possible. Chapter 84. Miss Fang's concern. That very afternoon, the matchmaker came over to exchange the engagement card. The date of May 20th was settled upon, and the whole thing was organized at a lightning speed. Xiao Xian saw the date and her lip corners could not help but twitch. 5:20, what a good date. Xiao Sanling laughed as if he had turned mental. He went to Miss Fang and kept flattering her. Miss Fang struck hard on his head and snapped. You useless man. Now you have realized your goal. But let me tell you right now, if your daughter-in-law doesn't respect me or disobey me openly and defends her family, I will not keep her here. If you dare to defend her in this way, you and I are no longer mother and son. As for whether or not Yang Xiaoni's brother and sister-in-law would continue to pester them after Yang Xiaoni was married, Miss Fang wasn't that worried at all. They were just her brother and sister-in-law. No brother or sister-in-law of any family would get involved with their married sister, unless the married sister was taking her brother's side. Miss Fang would not agree to hang out with those shameless people either. She was not going to allow them to take advantage of her family. Since they were just brother and sister-in-law, Miss Fang agreed to the marriage because Yang Xiaoni was a good girl. Xiao Sanling smiled and nodded constantly. He said in a flattering tone, Don't worry, Mom, I will respect you and father along with her. She hates her brother and sister-in-law too, so she is not going to take their side. Ah. Miss Fang was amused. Seeing his mother smiling, Xiao Sanling turned to Xiao Xian. Thank you very much, fifth sister-in-law. Both of us owe you big. You can turn to me for help if you need anything in the future. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Xiao Xian smiled. No worries, third brother, we are a family. Yes, we are a family. We will remember what you have done for us forever. Xiao Sanling smiled and said, Oh yes, you don't have to pay me any salary. When Xiaoni is here we will work for you together. Xiao Xian laughed. Third brother, these are 2 different things. You are getting paid anyway. Otherwise elder brother and elder sister-in-law would be very embarrassed. Xiao Sanling was startled, wondering why. Miss Fang glared at him and explained things to make him understand what she meant. He smiled at Xiao Xian and laughed even more awkwardly. Xiao Sanling got paid, but the money was given to Miss Fang. He was getting married next month and they needed to host a simple banquet, which might cost some money as well. Miss Fang accepted the payment. When this matter was settled, Xiao Xian together with Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao went up into the mountains and hunted honeycombs. Xiao Yunduan was not assured, so he followed them for a walk. Miss Fang was worried about Xiao Sanling's wedding. The bride had nothing to offer and they had to prepare for everything. They needed the matchmaker, the happy litter, and the orchestras too. Moreover, they needed new blankets for the room, and the couple needed to have new clothes too. Then they also needed to provide small snacks for the guests too. Also, There would be at least one representative from each household of the village to attend either weddings or funerals, including children. But some close relatives, apart from the formally invited guests, would all be present too. Chapter 85 Money. There would be at least 20 tables at the wedding. The banquet might not be as luxurious as the one for Xiao Yunduan's wedding, yet one bowl of chicken and one bowl of meat would definitely have to be served. Yang Liang and his wife were annoying, but the bridegroom was her own son, and young Xiaoni was going to spend the rest of her life with him. Therefore she could not make the wedding look too shabby, otherwise young Xiaoni might not be so happy about this, not now maybe but most likely in the future. Ms. Fang did want the wedding to be the hidden bomb in the relationship between her son and daughter-in-law. So she decided to make it look good. But where was she going to get the money to pay for the bill? Before she went to bed at night, Ms. Fang sat in bed and did the calculation with elder uncle. They would need at least 2 liang for the wedding. The problem was that the wedding gift had already cost them everything and they did not have 2 liang at all. Duan has just got married and now it is our third son's turn. This is totally beyond anticipation. Only if he doesn't hold the wedding until 2 years later. But Miss Qiao already offered us 10 liang for the wedding. Though she explained the reason to us, yet it is her kindness. We must not ask her for any more money for the wedding. We should not take money as loan from her either. Also, Miss Qiao is not going to ask us to pay her back. That would be immoral on our part. Also, let me tell you, we can't even pay for Duan's examination next year. By that time, Miss Qiao is going to pay for his fees, because it is her husband who is going to the examination. This is how our current situation is. What she meant was that they could not possibly ask Xiao Xian to loan them any more money for Xiao Sanlang's wedding this time. They could not just bully her just because she was rich. Eldest uncle also got annoyed. We can't even spare 2 liang? Miss Fang sneered. You really have no idea what is going on? Eldest uncle looked dazed and could not utter a word. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, his 2 brothers kept borrowing money from him and he was well aware of this. What about me asking my brothers about the money tomorrow? Miss Fang sneered inwardly, but she agreed. That is good, you can try tomorrow, or we can also try to come up with some other ideas. Early next morning, elder uncle went to the 2nd section of the family and the 3rd section of the family for money. But the result was well on the predicted lines. Elder brother, we need your help all the time. Of course we don't have any spare money. We can definitely lend you some if we do have any in stock. We are family, aren't we? Brother, Lulang is studying right now and we are barely making ends meet. We need your help, rather than being able to help you. Why not ask Miss Qiao? She has so much dowry. 2 liang is so small an amount for her. I don't think she even considers 2 liang as a big amount. Go and ask Miss Qiao, she has wasted so much money on the lands and splurged so much. Won't she even want to offer any money for your real business? That is so rude of her. Eldest uncle felt so annoyed after speaking with his brothers. He could sense that they did have some savings, but maybe he had thought too much? As for Miss Qiao, he really could not turn to Miss Qiao for help. Eldest uncle felt extremely distressed. Chapter 86 Xiao Xian satisfied, he asked for a loan from other villagers, but met with the same result. For villagers, 2 liang was not a small amount and it was very difficult to get. Eldest uncle was feeling very distressed. He turned to Miss Fang. What about asking Miss Qiao for help? Miss Fang looked at him in silence. Then she said, that seems to be the only way to do it right now. But let me tell you, if we borrow the money we have to return it to her. Also, Qi and Tao Tao are growing up and they are going to get married too. So, we need to prepare for that as well. They are your children, you have to take them into consideration first. From this moment on, we have no money for any other sections of the family. You can't even help your own children before you help others. Be sure your children don't blame you for that. Also, Duan needs money. He is studying. If he passes the examination and goes into the capital for further examinations, it would cost more. You can't possibly let Miss Qiao offer the money to him, right? Otherwise, how would he stand with back straight in front of his wife? Junyan is intelligent too, and in a couple of years he will probably go to school as well. What if he makes it through? Even if he can't pass any more examinations, it would be better to be able to read than know nothing. Eldest uncle felt head aching and could not help but feel guilty and bashful. He interrupted Miss Fang impatiently. All right, I got it. I am, of course, going to consider my own children first. It is just, anyway, let's just do this. Miss Fang snorted and felt slightly better. As long as her husband did not interrupt her, the second and the third sections of the family would never get even a penny from her. As for the other wild animals, well, she could just ignore that for the time being. Qiao Xian loaned them the 2 liang without any hesitation. Elder uncle was gratified, yet felt a bit guilty and embarrassed inwardly. In a couple of days the field was filled with plants and flowers that were needed. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, there were large patches of wild roses and ordinary roses, small patches of pomegranates, gardenias, sweet-scented osmanthus, jasmines, lilies, cloves and white orchids. All the flowers were growing well, especially the wild roses and ordinary roses. They were sprouting many small buds that were yet to bloom. The fences were all up, which were higher than 2 meters. Along the iron fence there were wild roses and one could not see anything from outside. When the door was chained, no one was able to walk in. 20 out of 30 honeycombs were filled with bees who kept flying in and out every day. Qiao Xian was very satisfied looking at the scene. In a couple of more days there would be 30 boxes of bees. 1 box of bees could help in extracting 2 or 3 times of honey and beeswax, which would be purified into at least 500 grams of pure honey. Therefore there would be more than 15 to 20 kilograms of honey in 1 year. That was plenty for them under the circumstances. Mostly they did not need so much anyway. Before she became powerful enough, she was not going to reveal this way of making money, and the lipsticks would not be produced at a large scale either. In order to keep everything a secret, she even had a hat on when she went to book the modes and tubes for lipsticks. She signed a non-disclosure contract with the craftsman so that the move was not revealed. When all the boxes were done, Qiao Xian put away the beeswax carefully and decided to sell honey in the capital. Chapter 87 Anticipation. The wild bees did not produce much honey. Moreover, Qiao Xian did not work too hard on it, so in the end she harvested more than 50 kilograms of wild honey and 9 kilograms of beeswax. Qiao Xian kept around 1.5 kilograms of honey and decided to sell the remaining 50 kilograms. 9 kg beeswax plus the plant oil, almond oil as well as purified red-colored flower juice would make at least 2,350 lipsticks at least. How much did that mean? Qiao Xian looked as if she had already seen money coming her way. With this amount of money she was going to buy more land and open stores. In the beginning she would do everything in secret. She did not intend to show up as the owner. She could not let Madame Qiao learn about this. When she became powerful enough that she went beyond Madame Qiao's influence, she would establish business relationships with some big businessmen with strong backgrounds. In this way she would have nothing to fear in the future. Most importantly, it would be great if Xiao Yunduan could make it to advanced scholar level. If he cleared it, she would be protected as well. By that time, even her bad father would not dare do a thing to her, let alone Madame Qiao. Advanced scholar was different from cultivated talent. He could replace the official position of a minor county magistrate. With some relationships and achievements, he could even be the head of a county. So, even if her father wanted to do something about him, he could not possibly win by using small tricks. He would need to report him to the government office where the head supervised the whole case. Qiao Xian believed that Madame Qiao would try and do some tricks, but her father would not. What if her father's bad deeds were revealed? It would be the end of his career. He was not stupid enough to do something detrimental to himself. In his eyes, Xiao Yunduan was his son-in-law, and when Xiao Yunduan became successful, he had to pay respect to him, otherwise his name would be ruined and Xiao Yunduan would not help him in the future. In fact, if Xiao Yunduan became successful, he would get extra help with relationships in the office, and that would make him really happy. Hence, he would not allow Madame Qiao to play any tricks. Therefore, as long as Xiao Yunduan made it to advanced scholar, it would be the starting of his flourishing career. That made Qiao Xian feel really excited. 50 kilograms of honey filled up 3 large porcelain jars. Everyone was so happy. It would earn them a lot of money. So on this day when Xiao Yunduan was going to the school in the capital, they rented a bullock cart and everyone went there together. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao as well as Ms. Fang tagged along. Ms. Fang had another purpose, that of buying some things needed for Xiao Sanlang's wedding. Honey was going to be sold to the pharmacies. Many side materials used at the pharmacy needed honey. Moreover, some precious materials would be soaked in wild, authentic honey so as to be preserved well. For example, ginseng, the best fresh wild ginseng, was sliced and cut into sections, soaked in pure wild honey and sealed, so that it could be stored for 70 or 80 years without any loss of efficacy. Qiao Xian went to one of the 2 big pharmacies in the capital with her family, and the manager showed them to the backyard. He tasted the honey and was shocked. How did you get so much honey? Wild honeycombs were very difficult to find. Their clinic needed wild honey throughout the year, and in late spring and summer, they would hire specialists to seek honey in the mountains. Normally, they would at most get 100 to 150 kilograms. Sometimes they would get even less than 100 kilograms. Xiao smiled. Just good luck. Manager, are you buying the honey? If not, we will sell it somewhere else. Manager smiled as he saw the beautiful married woman in front of him. It is a long way for you to come to this place, we will take it. Chapter 88 Fifth Sister-in-Law. Those words might have made others feel anxious, but Xiao rolled her eyes inside her head and said straightforwardly, Manager, you don't have to force yourself into doing any business. If you don't want to buy it, just say it directly. Manager, Xiao added, seeing her handle everything calmly and with composure. True. Manager, if you really want to buy the honey, please name a price. Xiao said with a smile, looking quite indifferent. Wild honey is a great thing. Even if we fail to sell it, we can still keep it for ourselves. Honey can be preserved for a long time, and it won't go bad even after years. We can eat it slowly or give it away as a gift, it will always come into use. I hear that wild honey with water can help extend lifespan. Miss Fang's eyes widened. That is great. Xiao smiled. That is really good, Mom. Manager's mouth twitched. He could not help but feel really concerned for this precious honey. They were ruining this wonderful treasure. He was a sly businessman, and after some testing he realized that this young couple wasn't so easy to be coaxed. In that case he decided not to bargain. Manager said with a smile, Your honey is really pure and wonderful, but it is too mixed. So I will buy it at 71 for 500 grams, what do you think? Miss Fang's legs collapsed as she felt dizzy in head. She asked in a shivering tone. How much? Xiao Taotao helped her up and her eyes were also widened. Xiao Xiaoqi was dumbfounded too. Honey was so valuable? Fifth sister-in-law was excellent. Her things earned more than his hunt. Manager smiled. 71 Ms. That is a very reasonable price. Miss Fang could not say a thing. She was not trying to raise the price. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan exchanged a look and Xiao Yunduan nodded. Okay, deal. After weighing, the honey measured up to almost 50 kilograms apart from the porcelain jar. Manager gave them 7 liang and Xiao Xian generously gave away the 3 porcelain jars to the manager, who smiled and thanked the young lady. He even told her to bring it again if they have any more in the future. When they left the clinic, Miss Fang was still feeling dazed. 7 liang? They had just earned 7 liang at one go. Miss Fang stared at Xiao Xian transfixed and mumbled inside her heart. She is our lucky star, indeed a lucky star. After her 5th daughter-in-law came to their home, they were living a better life than before. They had not only dealt with the 2nd and the 3rd section of the family, but also accomplished 3rd son's marriage. They were having a good time. They even had a spring at home. Her 5th daughter-in-law was just too fortunate. Mom, I will give 5 liang to you and the remaining will be divided between me, Qi and Taotao. I will take 5 liang and you both will get 1 liang each respectively. Does that sound okay? Xiao Xian was not going to take advantage of them. It was true that she had done most in getting the honey, and it was reasonable that she should get a little more from the portion that was distributed after giving the family share. There would be a lot of occasions when they would make money. If they did not set a rule for profit sharing, conflicts would definitely arise in the future. By that time they might even lose their friendly relationship. Miss Fang was still feeling blank inside her head when she took over the money. Neither Qi nor Taotao was satisfied by how the amount was divided. Chapter 89 With 5th sister-in-law. The brother and sister nodded and shook their heads dazedly. 5th sister-in-law, that is too much. We did nothing much, please just give half of that amount. Yes. Miss Fang also brought herself back and said with a smile, Miss Qiao, we got this because of you, they can just take 1 liang in total. In the past, before her daughter-in-law was married to their family, no one had sold honey for so much money. They managed to earn this much because of what her 5th daughter-in-law did for them. Now they would be able to host a good wedding for her 3rd son. Miss Fang felt really relieved when she received so much money suddenly. Xiao Xian did not change her mind. Qi and Taotao thanked her and looked at their 5th sister-in-law in admiration. They were definitely going to hang out with 5th sister-in-law more in the future. Xiao Xian added, Mom, put away the money. We may use it at some point in time and keep it a secret. Miss Fang realized what she meant. She looked at her 2 sons and her daughter. True, you must keep these earnings a secret and not reveal it to anyone else, not even to your father. Money was always going to be useful and she needed to save some. Qi and Tao Tao nodded in agreement. So did Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan was heading to the school, whilst Qiao Xian and Miss Qiao were going to do some more shopping, so they waved goodbye at an intersection. Xiao Yunduan whispered to Qiao Xian. If you ever run into someone from the Qiao family, just avoid them. If Madame Qiao knew that Qiao Xian was in town, she was not going to let go of the opportunity to humiliate her. Qiao Xian felt her heart turn warm as she smiled. I will. And I will take care of Mom and our brother and sister. Xiao Yunduan smiled. Thanks. Miss Fang pretended not to notice that her son and daughter-in-law were whispering with each other. She smiled brightly. The two of them are so sweet together. Qiao Xian had intended to stay away from the Qiao family, so after she left Xiao Yunduan, she grabbed a towel to cover herself. Miss Fang was very satisfied seeing how her daughter-in-law behaved. She thought that Qiao Xian had covered herself up because she did not want anyone else to stare at her beautiful face. Miss Fang told Qiao Xian that she was not going to return the 2 liang to her. She said, "We must let your father-in-law know that we owe you 2 liang. If you need money at any point, come to me in private." Qiao Xian had never intended to ask Miss Fang to return the 2 liang, but if there was a proposal like this, she would not turn it down. She smiled and nodded in an understanding way. That made Miss Fang feel even more gratified. Miss Su would not have said yes to such a proposal ever. Soon they were done shopping. Qiao Xian weighed 1 kilogram of snacks, some dried chilies, star anise, fennel and other seasonings, before heading ahead to buy the meat. Qiao Xian bought a large piece of lamb chops. She wanted to go back and make pan-fried lamb chops. After adding some honey on top of it, the dish would smell delicious. She bought 1 more hoof and a large piece of pork belly. The hoof could be stewed with turnips, and half of it would be fried to make a dish with a sweet and sour flavor. The other half would be served with chopped chives, and the taste would be really beyond anticipation. The pork belly would be added with soy sauce, honey and then fried to make barbecue pork. May was around the corner and the day was getting warmer. The meat could not be preserved for long. If it was made into barbecue pork, it could be kept for 2 more days. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao offered to pay for the meat. They could not possibly ask Qiao Xian to pay for everything. I was thinking about buying some meat and having 5th sister-in-law cook it for us. We can't let you pay for it and cook at the same time. Chapter 90 Background. Yes, we have money now. The 4 of them laughed. It cost just 10 won for 500 grams, and they only paid 200 won for so much meat. Qiao Xian decided not to argue with them anymore, so she smiled. Then I can treat you to a bowl of noodles each, let's go. A bowl of noodles consisted of green onions, pickled vegetables, beans and a spoonful of bone soup added on top. It only cost 3 won. 1 egg could be sold at 1 won, and villagers were not really happy to spend money upon buying 1 bowl of noodles normally. But they felt that they had made a fortune today, so they all agreed and went to eat noodles together. When they were done eating, they went to fetch the bullock cart and guarded their stuff for a while, whilst Qiao Xian went to buy some garments and needles at the garment store. The garments would be used to make the sole and the top of the shoes. Summer was coming soon, and there were many kinds of beautiful garments in the store. Qiao Xian picked some and decided to make 3 sets for herself and Xiao Yunduan, 2 for her in-laws, and 1 each for the others respectively. She even counted young Xiaoni in. She also needed some underwear for the hot days. So, she bought some thin white cotton garment and decided to make 2 sets for herself and Xiao Yunduan as well as Xiao Taotao. Girls from the countryside would normally make garments for themselves, so they knew about each other's sizes. Qiao Xian asked Xiao Taotao to tell her the sizes, and gave the order to the garment store, telling them that she would fetch the clothes in a couple of days. Xiao Taotao was really worried about splurging so much money. But Qiao Xian smiled and whispered, "We should not waste our time upon making clothes. We have to earn money during that time instead." Xiao Taotao fell silent. The manager of the store saw how generous Qiao Xian was and everyone laughed. They treated them nicely, and decided to give the cotton garments to them for free and gave some other beautiful garments as gifts too. That made Xiao Taotao really happy. She was definitely going to make a beautiful pair of new shoes for her beloved 5th sister-in-law. As they left the garment store, they went around and saw a person selling small geese. There were 9 of them bigger than a fist. They had long necks and their eyes looked like black beans, lovely and cute. Qiao Xian bought all of them. There were many chickens at home but no ducks. Qiao Xian had asked her mother-in-law about the reason, and her mother-in-law said that it was because ducks ate too much. Keeping them was not worth the while. Qiao Xian dropped the idea of keeping ducks. They could wait until they had more money in the future. But geese were different. They only fed on grass and little grains. The family could stew the geese and eat geese eggs as well. Miss Fang saw the geese and said nothing, since she knew that they only fed on grass. She was glad to. Xiao Yunduan returned at 4 in the afternoon, and they all went back to the village together. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma did not show up this time unexpectedly. Xiao Taotao could not help but mumble out of curiosity. Miss Fang sneered. They knew that we were going into the village to buy things for your brother's wedding, and they did not want to be here in case we would ask them for money. They groaned so terribly about their poor situation, but that worked only on her husband, not her. She knew them pretty well. They were afraid of being blamed by her. Qiao Xian laughed. You have seen them through, Mom? Miss Fang was proud and replied with a smirk. I have. Chapter 91 Eldest uncle stuck good that they were not here. Qiao Xian took a rest and after a while started to work in the kitchen. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao helped alongside. Miss Su was very happy to see Qiao Xian making some snacks for her children. She offered to help too, but Qiao Xian told her to leave. During dinner, dishes including pan-fried lamb chops, stewed radish soup, pan-fried sweet and sour hoof, stir-fried yam slices, stir-fried lettuce and cold spinach were served. The view made people drool. The barbecue pork was made as well. But it was stored in the kitchen for the next night. When elder uncle saw the table full of meat, he could not help but gasp. Before he could say anything, Qiao Xian smiled. Don't worry, father, all this was bought with my dowry, not with the shared money. My husband has been studying hard and our brothers and sisters-in-law are working hard too. We should eat something good. Eldest uncle was stuck with words and said nothing more. He owed 2 liang to his daughter-in-law and could not possibly ask her to share the food with the other sections of the family. Eldest uncle answered briefly and said, but this is too much for us. He meant that they could give the rest to the second and the third sections of the family because their children were starving too. Xiao Sanlang pursed his lips. We are all grown-ups. Of course we will be able to finish it all. Dad, the dishes taste great, I will make sure I finish them all. Qiao Xian chuckled. Seeing that Qiao Xian had not yet realized what he meant, eldest uncle snapped at his son and said, you only know how to eat. You are getting married soon. Miss Fang rolled her eyes. Just sit down and eat. Eldest uncle fell silent. The lamb chops tasted crisp on the top and the hoofs were not tough to chew. A bite of both of them tasted great. They were soft, sweet and sour at the same time, with a really fragrant taste of the broth. The wok dishes and cold-served spinach were good for appetite. After the whole family was full, they spoke highly of the dishes and did not spare even the broth. Xiao Sanlang looked at elder uncle as he poured the broth over the rice. Dad, look, I knew I could finish it. Eldest uncle responded in a dark manner. Just shut up. Qiao Xian tried to hold down her laughter. Back in the bedroom, Xiao Yunduan said to Qiao Xian. After the Dragon Boat Festival, we will have a competition with dragon boats. The teachers of the school asked me to join. Do you want to watch the game? Qiao Xian's eyes brightened. Is it fun? Xiao Yunduan felt slightly delighted. He knew that it would be interesting for her. He nodded. Yes, and it is going to be festive. Okay. Qiao Xian smiled. I will be there. She had never seen such a show before and would definitely like to watch it. Moreover, she could make a thorough observation of the local area. Xiao Yunduan smiled. Okay, it is settled then. Yes. Following day, Qiao Xian thought of the batch of watermelon seeds. She struck her head. She should not have forgotten about this. She will take Qi and Tao Tao to the mountain, and bring some watermelon seeds to the yard. There were many watermelon seeds there, and with the help of her superpower she was going to make the fruits grow fantastically in her field. The watermelons would grow to be numerous, large in size, round and sweet too. Chapter 92 Fifth sister-in-law watermelons were not commonly seen things. According to the original host's memory, they only got 2 watermelons at home once and her parents regarded them as treasure. Of course, those precious fruits were eaten by her parents, and the original host did not have the qualification of eating it. But this time she was going to eat everything. The 3 of them trekked up to Wangqing Mountains, and then Xiao Xian accidentally found the wild watermelon seeds. The seeds were already budding, and there were many veins everywhere, tangled and spread over the ground. They could tell that when the watermelons grow well, there would be many animals and birds flying all over. Xiao Xian said to Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao, "This is a very good thing. We can go back and plant some in the yard. They are called watermelons, round, red and sweet. We can even sell them in the town. I am sure that everyone will buy it." Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were not completely convinced by her words. But they were glad to hear that these seeds could be worth the while. "That is great. Fifth sister-in-law knows everything and we can earn money again. Let's dig out the seeds." The three of them worked together. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were very proficient in it. It was a simple task and Xiao Xian helped too. Soon they got enough seeds within 2 hours. Xiao Xian left some for the animals in the mountains. Surprisingly, they saw 2 mulberry trees next to the watermelon field. It was a season when mulberry grew well and many of the fruits had already shown up. Birds loved the fruits and there were only a few remaining on the trees. Xiao Xian's eyes brightened and she said that those fruits could be eaten as well. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao trusted her completely. They picked the ugly-looking fruits and put them in their mouths. Instantly their eyes brightened too. "These are so sweet. So tasty." Xiao Xian smiled. "See, I was not lying to you, right?" When the mulberries were picked, Xiao Xian decided to bring some back home too. She could duplicate the trees. Hence, they will receive many fruits next year. Moreover, the extra mulberries could be used to make liquor. The seeds were all gathered, tied up into several bunches and put into the basket. Since they were going to plant the seeds, they decided to go back earlier. They spent 2 more hours in the mountains where Xiao Xiaoqi caught 1 rooster, and then they went to Rabbit Hill together. "We can hunt 2 rabbits today and there is no need for more. I can just come here whenever you want to eat it." Xiao Xian smiled. "Qi, you should never come here alone. It is dangerous here. I need to be here with you, understand?" Xiao Xian was not bragging. There were dangerous zones in Huangqing Mountains as well. The reason why they never ran into danger was because Xiao Xian could scan over the place and help them avoid the dangerous zones within their nearby range. That is how they managed to escape from the beast-infested areas in the past. What Xiao Xian did not know was that Xiao Xiaoqi was more capable than he displayed in front of others. He could escape even if he ran into wild boars or tigers. Chapter 93 Fifth Sister-in-Law So good. Moreover, after 3 years' time they could even fight for it. Hearing what Xiao Xian said, Xiao Xiaoqi felt very moved. He nodded and answered, "I got it, fifth sister-in-law." Fifth sister-in-law was so concerned about him. She was really nice. "But you have to remember not to lie to me." "Of course, fifth sister-in-law." The rabbit nest was full of fat and large wild rabbits, 3 of which became Xiao Zioqi's catch. Xiao Taotao brought them home. The 3 of them walked for some time before Xiao Xian found the fig trees. The trees looked quite like wild-growing trees but with a special smell. Surprised, she decided to take them home, but the decision startled Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao. The 2 of them tried to stop her. "Fifth sister-in-law, we must not take these home. They smell terrible." Xiao Xian pointed at the finger-sized green fruits with a smile. "The smelly tree you know of is different from this one. That tree doesn't grow fruits, but look at this tree. It has figs which taste good when they ripen. More importantly, the trees were much easier to grow, better than mulberry trees. Even one twig could make it grow wildly. Also, the figs tasted good but could not be transported easily, so they were often dried. Even in the modern time, no fresh figs could be found in the fruit stores that were away from the place where figs were grown. If some fresh figs were transported before they turned ripe, the taste would be much worse. The real mature figs had a great taste." Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao took a closer look at it and admired the fruit. "They are different. Fifth sister-in-law, you are so clever. You know everything." "Yes, we were wrong. Fifth sister-in-law, how does fig grow? Does it bloom?" Xiao Xian smiled. "Yes, it blooms, except that the flowers are too small to be seen." Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao came to a realization, and helped Xiao Xian to dig the tree. The 3 of them returned home and ran into Ms. Niu, who was wandering about with her grandson in her arms, just as they were about to enter the village. Ms. Niu, who saw them carrying baskets and bags, had her eyes wide and bright. "Hey, what all have you got?" Ms. Niu tried to dig out what was inside their basket. She saw some mushrooms and melon veins on top. Wild roosters and rabbits were in the bag in Xiao Taotao's hand, whilst Xiao Xian was carrying 2 wrist-thick fig trees under her arms. The 3 of them felt speechless as they saw Ms. Niu's behavior. Xiao Xiaoqi dodged her. "Hey, second aunt-in-law." Ms. Niu pursed her lips. "What are those seeds for? Why are you carrying them home?" "For food." Xiao Xian smiled and bragged. The seeds look very fresh, they should taste good. There were all kinds of wild plants in the mountains during this time of the year and in this era. So Qiao Xian loved to bring a lot home every time she went into the mountains. Ms. Niu heard of this before, so she did not suspect Qiao Xian's words. She lost her interest instantly and rolled her eyes, complaining. She who is born nobly has no idea what is worth the while and what is not. Ms. Niu cribbed inwardly yet said, "So wild roosters and rabbits are in this bag, aren't they? You can hunt more wild animals for us. Look at my grandson, he has lost so much weight." Qiao Xian blinked. "But you have so many roosters at home, you can feed them to your grandson too, right?" Chapter 94 Teasing Ms. Niu, what are you talking about? Ms. Niu glared at her. Those hens are for eggs, we can't kill them to eat. We are not wasting food at home. Qiao Xian snorted. But Qi of our family is young and he needs rest. He gets tired too. Our parents feel sorry for him, so do we as brother and sister-in-law. Xiaoqi added. Yes, my legs feel languished after a full day's running. It takes me several days before I am able to completely relax. The three of them laughed. They were obviously teasing Ms. Niu. Annoyed, Ms. Niu shot back. You are countering the senior member of the family. Qiao Xian's face sank as she said coldly, Second aunt-in-law, should we try to seek justice with our parents? You are setting us up. Whenever Qi returns with wild animals, you always speak ill about him when you don't get anything from him. Also me and Tao, have we ever offended you, second aunt-in-law? Ms. Niu felt even more angry. Xiao Tao had never offended her, and they had taken many things from what Xiaoqi had hunted, so she should not be blamed. Ms. Niu felt very annoyed by Qiao Xian, while she could not utter a single word of complaint. Qiao Xian was too treacherous. Ms. Niu mumbled in anger. I am just saying, what are you being so serious about? I am a senior member and I can of course discipline you a little. Qiao Xian immediately reacted. You, as the senior member, can definitely discipline us if we make any mistakes. But you are ruining our reputation for no reason. Why can't we be upset? Our reputation is important, and it can't be taken as a joke all the time. You can't be deliberately doing it, can you? Will you be happy if my mom keeps ruining Meiling's reputation? They have done nothing wrong, why must they be talked about? Then what have we done, second aunt-in-law? Ms. Niu became so furious that she shivered. Goddamn Miss Qiao, she was awful. Qiao Xian's eyes looked cold. Second aunt-in-law, you have to remember not to spread rumors about others. Don't ever forget that you have your own children and grandchildren too. If you offend us severely one day, I am not sure what I will do for real. She was the daughter of the county magistrate, and if she made such a claim, there would be many people who believed her. Standing right on the spot, Ms. Niu spat seeing them leaving. Miss Qiao, you goddamned woman. Qiao Xian reached home and dropped one rooster and 2 wild rabbits. Then she took the mushrooms for drying. She shared the mulberries wrapped in a broad leaf for everyone to eat. Miss Fong tried a few and said that they were tasty. Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qing felt the same. Miss Fong smiled more brightly when she heard that it was Qiao Xian's achievement. She said, your 5th sister-in-law is a very intelligent person, and has knowledge about everything. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao nodded in agreement. Qiao Xian still felt a bit shy hearing the compliments. She flushed and ran away with mulberries in her hands, saying that she was going to share them with Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan had become even more devoted to studies, after being humiliated at the Qiao family. He had sworn that he was going to make it to the next level, so he spent the whole day studying and writing articles. Qiao Xian pushed the door and walked in, yet he did not even realize it. Qiao Xian did not disturb him either. She closed the door slightly and stood next to him, watching him quietly. The man did not notice her, and she sized him up straightforwardly. The way her husband wrote made him look very attractive. Chapter 95 Good idea. The man had a slender body shape and good physical proportions. When he was seated at the table, he looked concentrated and careful. He was calm as he wrote the characters, and the straight-back manner in which he was sitting made him look graceful and unworldly. He, who had been reading books since a young age, looked no longer like a villager. Qiao Xian subconsciously believed that he was going to become someone more than a minor cultivated talent. She believed that he was going to have a promising future. Maybe one day he was going to press down her parents like a gigantic tree. Qiao Xian was dreaming when Xiao Yunduan suddenly looked up and met her eyes. Both of them were startled. Xiao Yunduan was taken aback at first. Then his eyes were on her for a long while. Caught red-handed, Xiao Xian realized that she had been looking at him in a straightforward way, and it was very embarrassing when she was caught. Oh well. I have picked many mulberries and they are really sweet. Want to have a try? Xiao Xian smiled as she showed the mulberry wrapped in the large leaf, pretending that she was not embarrassed. She could just leave if Xiao Yunduan shook his head. But Xiao Yunduan nodded. Oh really? Let me taste it. Xiao Xian. Failing in her plan, Xiao Xian had no choice but to step forward. She put down the mulberries in front of him, smiling. They are very sweet. Xiao Yunduan threw a look at her and put a black, ripe mulberry into his mouth. He bit it open and the sweet juice went across his teeth. He smiled. It is definitely very sweet. I was telling the truth, right? Xiao Xian calmed down, seeing his relaxed state. She added with a smile. The mulberries look ugly but they taste great. Yes. Xiao Yunduan chuckled. You are right. Oh, you can just take your time eating them. I will go and deal with the melon veins, planting melons I mean. Xiao Yunduan stood up. I can help you, I will eat the mulberries later. Xiao Xian blinked and was about to say something when Xiao Yunduan smiled. I have been studying for half a day, and I need to stretch myself. Xiao Xian laughed. It was coincidental and had already happened numerous times. So she did not turn him down but said, Okay then let's go. Xiao Yunduan nodded and left with her. Ms. Niu, who had been so annoyed when countered by Xiao Xian, came to the first section of the family with her grandson, out of curiosity. Seeing Ms. Fong and Ms. Su drying the mushrooms, Ms. Niu could not help but speak up. Can the mushrooms be eaten? You will get poisoned. Ms. Fong snorted. None of your business. Ms. Niu persisted and said, Honestly, elder sister-in-law, why don't you tell your daughter-in-law not to go into the mountains for useless work? She always brings back wasteful stuff so she gets no time to hunt. If Xiao Xiaoqi could spend more time hunting for roosters and rabbits, then they could be shared with her family. Miss Fong laughed out of anger. I don't care what my daughter-in-law is doing. What is your position in talking about her? If you want more wild animals, you can go and hunt them yourself. Chapter 96 Bad daughter-in-law Ms. Niu added to her list of complaints. It is Qi who is stingy. He is hiding his skill. If he had taught Erlang and Silag how to hunt in the mountains, everything would be great. Miss Fang's face sank. Ms. Niu, you can discuss with Mr. Zhao about this, but shut your mouth in front of me. Mr. Zhao only recognized Qi as a talent, and only offered to teach his skills to Qi. At that time, when they saw Qi gaining a lot of things every time he came back from the mountains with Mr. Zhao, they were eager to do the same. The second section of the family only had one son, who was studying and did not want to do this kind of work. But third uncle offered to learn the skills himself, and Erlang as well as Silang from the second section of the family chipped in as well. But Mr. Zhao did not think that they were talented enough, so he turned them down straightforwardly. Second uncle and third uncle got so annoyed that they kept causing trouble in front of the first section of the family and making complaints about Mr. Zhao, seeing that he was alone in the village. They were unconvinced about his decision. Xiao Xiaoqi was so young, what could he do? Why did Mr. Zhao accept only him as the disciple? Was he saying that they were worse than a pint-sized boy? However, though Mr. Zhao was no longer as popular and influential as before, he was still capable of disciplining a couple of villagers. So, he taught both of them a lesson quietly before they decided to give up. Mr. Zhao was a very skilled man who knew that he could not face the world like before, but he did not want to die without sharing his skills. Hence, when he spotted a talented boy like Qi, he thought about imparting his knowledge to the boy. He taught Xiao Xiaoqi how to do martial arts, which was much more difficult and powerful than hunting. But he did not allow him to reveal to anyone that he knew martial arts. That second uncle and third uncle were disciplined by him was known only to the two of them. They were so scared that they did not dare do anything. Neither Ms. Niu nor Ms. Ma ever understood why their husbands gave up. That was why Ms. Niu remained unconvinced about the matter and started to crib about it again. She became rather irritated when she heard what Ms. Fang said. She was about to counter her when she saw Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan coming. She closed her mouth instantly, snorted and left with one rabbit in her hand. Miss Qiao was not a good daughter-in-law. She was going to defend her mother-in-law and fight her. It was not worth the while for her to stay and listen to her speech. It was her own fault that she did not have a powerful daughter-in-law. Her daughter-in-law only knew how to take things from her home to her mother's family. What a horrible comparison. Ms. Fang was asked by Qiao Xian to plant melons in the yard. Hence they all went to do the work together. Ms. Fang was glad to hear that she had got watermelon veins. She knew what winter melons were but not watermelons. Hearing the explanation from her daughter-in-law, she realized that it must be a sweet kind of melon that could be eaten without being cooked. She looked at her daughter-in-law and felt that she was going to make a large amount of money again, which made her feel really happy. So she asked Xiao Taotao and Ms. Su not to reveal a thing to anyone else in the family. Qiao Xian arranged it so that the melon was put next to the grapevine. It was a very broad place, and with her superpower she was going to make sure the melons would grow well. Xiao Xiaoqi, Xiao Taotao and Ms. Xua offered help too. Fifth sister-in-law, what should we do with the veins? Ms. Su was very satisfied with Qiao Xian. She was more than willing to help with labor and laundry as well. Chapter 97. Glad after all, Qiao Xian had pitched in a lot towards the shared properties, and they had taken great advantage of it. Also, Qiao Xian was generous enough to offer Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qing many snacks, and she even told them not to let their father-in-law know in case he would ask them to share those with the second and the third section of the family. Ms. Su was very grateful to Qiao Xian. Qiao Xian said with a smile, "There are no rules, but start planting from this spot and don't put them too close to each other. Veins won't grow properly then." They did not need to put them too neatly. Also, she was not very good at planting herself. Ms. Su and the others were a bit surprised. Ms. Su could not help but say, "But, isn't that too casual? We need to have rules for planting crops. This is just too." "Elder sister-in-law, just do as she says, it will be fine," Xiao Yunduan said. It was her yard and she could do whatever she wanted and however she wanted as long as she was happy. Ms. Su was about to say something but eventually let out a small okay. Her sister-in-law was too relaxed in crop planting, so was her brother-in-law, who just let her do whatever she wanted. Qiao Xian smiled at Xiao Yunduan and said, "Let's start it now." Okay. The planting went on fast with some earth digging, some seed burying, some earth covering and some watering. That was it. Soon the land was filled with casually planted melon seeds. But the seeds looked withered, and were displayed in an unruly manner. They looked so sad. Ms. Su could not help but shake her head. Can they really grow? She was really doubtful. Ms. Su could not help but feel a little speechless seeing Qiao Xian smiling at those withering seeds. Anyway, as long as it pleased her. Ms. Su was not aware that she had subconsciously started to think differently from before. When the melons were put down, they all walked out of the yard. Xiao Yunduan glanced at the fruit trees and grapes in the yard, saying with a smile, "Those trees are growing well." That surprised him as well. Xiao Xiaoqi smiled. "True, look at the persimmons, peaches and pears. They are all lush and the fruits will be available in a couple of months. And bayberries too." Xiao Taotao could not help but drool at the thought. "They are turning red." "True." Qiao Xian chuckled. "Yes, I know I have spotted the right place. We will have endless fruits to eat." Early next morning, Qiao Xian paid a visit to the flower field at the entrance of the village. Everything was growing well. After the Dragon Boat Festival, pomegranate flowers, Chinese roses, and ordinary roses would all start to bloom in large proportions. At that time, the petals would be picked and smashed to extract the flower juice. Then some almonds would be bought, almond oil would be abstracted, and beeswax would be mixed in it for making lipstick. She could see that she had more than 2,000 lipsticks in hand. Soon she was going to become a very rich woman. Satisfied, Qiao Xian put in more superpower into the field, so that the flowers grew faster, stems became stronger and leaves flourished. The twigs needed to grow faster and higher, whilst the blooms should ripen early and become bigger. Qiao Xian did not stop sending in the superpower until a while later. All the flowers were growing well, and when they grew so well, no one would notice the real reason for it, which made the process reasonable. That was why she had fenced the field. She did not want the outsiders to learn the truth. She was waiting for a contrast. Chapter 98. New changes in space. Qiao Xian was still headed into the mountains with Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao. It was the time when mushrooms were growing fastest and wildly. They had sun-dried many mushrooms which could be stewed or fried with meat, leading to the making of a delicacy. Also, Qiao Xian suggested selling dried mushrooms in the market, and Ms. Fang did not object to that proposal. Qiao Xian suggested that she could get more mushrooms when the mushrooms were growing rampantly in the mountains. Moreover, she planned to plant more mushrooms in the yard, which interested Ms. Fang, who had found the biggest hope and interest in her life. Qiao Xian, with the excuse of seeking mushrooms, was actually trying to find some precious medical herbs, including wild-growing Gastrodia alatas, Panax notoginseng, Siberia land picks as well as Ganoderma lucidum. She had decided to feed Ganoderma lucidum to the space, and if the space did not accept Gastrodia alata, Panax notoginseng, then she could plant them in the yard. She also decided to have a talk with the pharmacy when she had some savings, about whether she could buy some seeds of Gastrodia alatas as well as Panax notoginseng from them. Well, it would be best if wild-growing ones could be found. But it was not certain yet. The resources in the forest were abundant, and it was quite possible for her to find wild-growing ones there itself. When they were done with planting medicinal herbs, she was going to work on mushroom planting. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were quite willing to take a walk with their fifth sister-in-law in the mountains. The three of them spent 2 days searching for the herbs, and finally Qiao Xian found more than 10 Ganoderma lucidum for the space. Qiao Xian was very surprised. She tried to feed the space according to her own thoughts, which the space accepted. Qiao Xian was confused. But then she tried to pull the Ganoderma lucidum out of the space as well, which worked too. Delighted, Qiao Xian planted all the Ganoderma lucidum into the space without hesitation. In this way she was putting stuff into the space for saving, and she could pull it out whenever she needed things. The orchids she planted earlier were budding, which manifested the fact that plants grew fast inside. In this way Ganoderma lucidum could be left growing in the space instead, which could help her earn more money later. Apart from Ganoderma lucidum, Qiao Xian was lucky enough to find 5 more false starworts, which space did not ask for but which were planted by her voluntarily. She could sense that the magical air as well as the sense of liveliness had become thicker across the space. The land around the spring was no longer that bare-looking, and the earth within a range of 50 meters was becoming fertile. The space seemed to be expanding outwards in this way. The spring was no longer still. Instead, it was moving by a finger size far into the distance. Yet she could not see the end, since her magical sense had not yet taken her there. As for herself, she was yet not able to enter space physically, and wondered if she would be able to do that in the future. Apart from all of these changes, there was a patch of mist shrouding the area not far away from the spring, in which he seemed to have spotted a small house. The house had white walls and black tilts, a high rooftop. It looked quite classical. What was inside the house? Unfortunately, she was not able to go deeper inside. Still, Qiao Xian felt really excited seeing the changes in the space. She might be able to realize all the possibilities soon that had not been explored till now. According to the current development, she might be most likely to open up all the unknown avenues into possibilities. Qiao Xian eventually found a patch of wild-growing Gastrodia alata. She wondered for how many years the Gastrodia alatas had been growing in the mountains, since there were so many of them, covering approximately 20 mu. Chapter 99 Harvest. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao could not recognize those plants, but Qiao Xian had the impression, because she had bought them for the senior member of the family in her previous life. True, here they were. Fifth sister-in-law, is it a good thing? Can we sell them for money? Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao did not care if they recognized the plants, as long as their fifth sister-in-law was glad. It meant that the plants were definitely going to be precious. Qiao Xian nodded as she rubbed her hands. These are excellent things, precious medical herbs which can be sold at a really good price in the pharmacy. Gastrodia alatas had always been sold at a high price starting from the ancient time. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao cheered. What are we waiting for? Go and grab them. Fifth sister-in-law, what are they called? We will dig them all up. Qiao Xian smiled. They are called Gastrodia alata, growing in the earth. You have to be very careful when digging them. You should not hurt them or they will lose all their value. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao nodded. Xiao Taotao asked again. Fifth sister-in-law, how much can they be sold for? Qiao Xian thought for a while and shook her head. I am not very sure, but I think that it should be more valuable than honey. Ah. What? Their eyes widened upon listening to her, and they gasped. Both of them became even more motivated and careful hearing that. The brother and sister were fully prepared. Fifth sister-in-law, don't worry, we promise to be careful. Qiao Xian nodded with a smile. Good that you are careful, but a little twisted stems are okay, don't get too nervous. Qiao Xian suddenly thought that she may be able to repair the damaged plants with her superpower. She wondered whether that method worked. Even if she could not, small damages were fine. She could use her superpower to avoid the damage in the stems. But Taotao and Qi would not able to do so, they were not real professionals. However, Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were not convinced by Qiao Xian. We will definitely remain cautious. Yes, we will not hurt the stem. That was all potential money, far more valuable than wild honey. The three of them did not bring any shovels on this day, only blades. They needed to chop the plants away so as to make a path across the wilderness. Soon Xiao Xiaoqi sharpened a sharp-tipped twig and the digging started. The terrain was low and flat in the woods and the soil was not too wet or too dry. The plants were growing really well. As a result, it was much easier for them to dig out things. Soon they managed to get a good harvest. All the plants looked ripe and weighed heavily with some soil stuck to them. The plants had a fragrant and fresh fragrance, but their noses could only smell money. 20 mu plants like this were not easy to be dug fully, and they could not possibly carry everything back even when they were done. They had just completed digging 1 mu when their baskets were full. They were not strong enough to take away everything. Xiao Xiaoqi said, "I will bear this place in mind. Let's go home first. What are we going to do with this plant? Sundry it too?" Qiao Xian had just tested that her superpower was able to repair the damage of plants, but the wounds could not be too large or deep. She was in a good mood. Hearing what Xiao Xiaoqi said, Qiao Xian thought for a while and said, "We can't do this again and again. Let's go home first and bring third brother, and elder sister-in-law here tomorrow." Chapter 100 Ideas. The plants across the 20 mu were ripe and lush, because no one had harvested them before. It was the correct time, but soon they would go bad. Qiao Xian decided to move them back home before they were discovered by others. The plants were not growing very regularly, and she decided to get some more laborers for help. With their help, the harvesting would take just a couple of days. The three of them returned to the village. Qiao Xian and Xiao Taotao waited for Xiao Xiaoqi to get the bullock cart to their spot. Then the three of them went into the town together, and arrived at the pharmacy called Mingren Tang. They went to the old client whom they had sold stuff to earlier. Qiao Xian had no idea how to deal with Gastrodia alata herself, and it would be too troublesome and eye-catching as well. What if those nosy people came to their home and made trouble? They could just dig and sell, saving a lot of trouble. Those relatives were so shameless. How could they just return like nothing had happened, every time they finished the argument with her mother-in-law? It basically meant that they were thick-skinned. It came to their own interests and had a greedy disposition. Hearing that they had Gastrodia alata, Manager Qin was really astonished. But for Qiao Xian's previous visit and their generous sale of hundreds of kilos of wild honey last time, he would not have believed their words. Instead, he would have thought that they were here causing trouble and would have driven them out. Seeing the plants they had brought with them, he was surprised. They were freshly dug with soil still attached. Manager Qin was surprised and happy as he said emotionally, "You are indeed lucky. Of course we will take it. I will buy them at a reasonable price. Do you have any more?" Manager Qin looked at her expectantly. Qiao Xian replied with a leisurely smile, "Of course yes, we have found more than 10 mu of it in the mountains. This is just a small portion we have dug. So, Manager Qin, name a good price, otherwise we will not go and dig them any further." Manager Qin would not have believed those words if they were spoken by someone else, and he would have quoted a low price if he was dealing with regular villagers. Well, everyone was trying to make some money, right? But he had to believe what Xiao Xian said. She was a reliable person, and she must be right about what she had said. Xiao Xian would not trick him like the others. Manager Qin smiled. "You are funny, little girl. My Mingren Tang is always fair and sells things at a right price. You can bring all kinds of medical herbs you can find, and we can buy it from you at the right price. The plants are raw and we still need to deal with them, which may take some time. I will pay 2 liang for every 500 grams, okay?" Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao almost fainted and their hearts skipped a beat. They exchanged a shocked look between each other. What did they just hear? 2 liang? They had spent a lot of effort carrying the bags and baskets from the mountains, and it should weigh at least 35 to 40 kilograms together. So, how much were they going to receive? They just could not calculate it anymore. Chapter 101 Nice treatment. Xiao Xian thought for a while and smiled. Okay, 2 liang isn't a high price, but Manager Qin, you pay promptly, so I will take the deal. Good. Miss, if you have some more, bring it to us please. The manager let out a sigh of relief and smiled as he asked the assistant to start weighing the goods. 2 liang for 500 grams was not a low price, nor was it high. The manager was trying to get a bargain because he did need to spend extra effort in dealing with the original plants. Qiao Xian took the deal and told him that she was aware of the market price well enough. Manager believed that if the seller was not as smart as this young miss, he would definitely have managed to buy all the plants at 2 chen per 500 grams instead. The final bill was 172 liang for 43 kilograms. If they give half of it to the shared savings, each of them would still get dozens of liang in the end. The three of them were really pleased. They bought some good food and Qiao Xian fetched the newly tailored clothes, before heading back to the village happily. Qiao Xian asked Xiao Yunduan to join them when she was handing out the money. Xiao Yunduan was startled as he said, "You went to the town? You have to tell me when you go to town next time. I need to be with you." Qi and Tao Tao could do nothing. If something happened, they were not going to be of any help. They would even be frightened away. Qiao Xian got very happy when she heard that he cared about her safety rather than the money, so she said, "All right, next time I will tell you first." Qiao Xian was smiling inside her heart. She was so lucky to have a husband who treated her nicely. Xiao Yunduan was really worried about her safety. He had witnessed how Madame Qiao and those from the Qiao family treated her, so he was really angry and concerned about her. He was scared that she would run into them. Those annoying servants were even worse than their masters. They would always flatter the masters in all kinds of manners. What if some housekeeper, servant or annoying aunties ran into Qiao Xian and bullied her? But seeing how Qiao Xian reacted, he suddenly became shy. But he felt somehow happy too when he saw her cheerful face. Qiao Xian, Xiao Yunduan, Xiao Taotao, Xiao Xiaoqi, Miss Fang were dividing the money. Miss Su did not notice the amount of money, as she was watching her children eating snacks and putting on new dresses. Miss Fang and Xiao Yunduan were very surprised to see this much money. Qiao Xian took 2 notes, each of them was worth 50 liang, whilst the rest was 10 liang as well as some small changes. They had spent some on food such as ribs and pork belly as well as 50 kilograms of rice and 15 kilograms of flour. Those staple foods were consumed fast in a large family like theirs. Miss Fang patted her throbbing heart as she said in a shivering voice, "This much money was earned because you sold that plant?" "Yes, Mom." The three of them nodded with a smile. "Oh my!" Miss Fang almost collapsed. "It is so much. Mom, this is just a small part. We have seen more than 20 mu of the plant. We can dig some more tomorrow. We are going to earn much more than this." "Miss Fang, let me digest it slowly." Xiao Yunduan helped Miss Fang to sit down. "Mom, Miss Qiao found the plant, but I think that if she gives half of the earnings to the shared pool, it might be a bit too much. What do you think?" Chapter 102. No greed. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao nodded as well. That was exactly what they were thinking too. But for fifth sister-in-law, we would not have recognized the plant, nor would we have sold it for this much money. Fifth sister-in-law should take the largest share. Yes. Qiao Xian did not care much about it. She knew what her mother-in-law was like. She smiled. "It is fine, we have all worked hard. But Mom, you have to hide the money and never share it with anyone else." The others agreed as well. They believed that this was the most important thing above all. Miss Fang took a deep breath. "Miss Qiao, Duan, Qi and Tao Tao are right. You earned the money. You don't have to give so much to us. What about you giving 20 liang to me and the rest can be yours?" 20 liang was already enough for them. Honestly, they could not save 20 liang even in an entire year in the past. Miss Fang believed that she should cherish the windfall rather than being greedy. Qiao Xian was able to earn this much money because she was fortunate. The others should not be too greedy for her money, otherwise there would be misfortune along the way. Startled, Qiao Xian had not expected that her mother-in-law would be so generous. She said, Mom is right, just do as she says." Xiao Yunduan added. She could keep her earnings. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao had no objection to the proposal. Qiao Xian thought for a while and agreed with a smile. "Then I won't say no." Miss Fang said with a smile, "You deserve it." Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao did not do much and still got 20 liang respectively. Qiao Xian had more than 120 liang in savings right now. She stuffed 2 liang back to Miss Fang. That was an extra benefit which made Miss Fang smile. Her daughter-in-law was quite understanding, and knew how to make money and respected her. She was the lucky star of the family. When they were done with money sharing, Xiao Meiling and Xiao Xiaoji came looking around. Xiao Xiaoqi immediately said, "We don't have any wild animals today, cousins. So, they could just stop looking." Xiao Meiling smiled. "You borrowed a bullock cart to go to the town, what did you do there?" Xiao Xiaoji. "What did you buy?" Qiao Xian replied. Why must we report what we have brought to you every time? It is none of your business. She left from there without speaking with them anymore. Xiao Meiling and her sister got so annoyed that they turned to look at Ms. Fang, who ignored them as well and went into the kitchen instead. They realized that their elder aunt-in-law would not defend them against her daughter-in-law. Let's leave. The two of them dashed off. Soon the two elder women were at the door. Ms. Fang countered them and the two of them left in anger as well. Ms. Fang realized that they should not be indulged, even though her family was making money now. Qiao Xian cooked some more food for dinner. She made braised and sugar-coated ribs, and turned pork belly into braised meat whilst adding some chives with egg soup and eggplants and beans. Qiao Xian thought that her father-in-law would say something about this, but her father-in-law said nothing even after they finished the dinner. Qiao Xian was very surprised. Xiao Yunduan immediately clarified. They owe you 2 liang. Dad doesn't dare to say anything right now. Qiao Xian struck her head. Ah, good. It was good that she had a substantial dowry. Chapter 103. No step backwards. She could do whatever she wanted. What Qiao Xian did not know was that when eldest uncle returned to the room, he had a long chat with Ms. Fang. Although he did not believe it firmly, he still insisted. They were just here on a visit. Why are you treating them as if they are thieves? It will make our name sound bad and it will hurt us too. We are one family, Ms. Fang sneered. We are not one family. We are living separately. We all have sons, daughter-in-laws and grandchildren to support. What are they doing here? They keep thinking about getting something from us, whenever they see us bringing something home. Just on a visit? They always return to their home with something or the other. Qi is not yet married, but when he has a wife in the future and they keep coming to us again and again, his wife is definitely going to be annoyed. No nephews are going to support their uncles and aunts. They can get something from us occasionally, but they come to us every time Qi goes up to the mountain. Bah. Miss Qiao can buy whatever she wants. Why is it their business? Why must they dig into what she is doing? Must she share with them what she has got? They will always come to you whenever we refuse to give them something. You can share things with them but leave us alone. If you are not convinced, just ask your son and daughter-in-law, who on earth is willing to share the gains. You can go and ask anyone. Bah, don't ever say that they have nothing and will give us something when they have it. Look at Xiaoji and Meiling. When they eat candies they don't share any with Tao Tao. When they kill roosters for a meal, have they ever shared a bowl of soup with us? Eldest uncle. He could not come up with any instance when he was offered something by them. A rooster is so small. If they have anything spare they would definitely share it with us. Miss Fang sneered. What do you mean by small? If they have the heart to share it with us they would do that whenever they want. They have taken full advantage of us. Now they should just stop it. Our children are growing up and we are going to have more daughters-in-law. You are defending your brothers? But if you expect your daughters-in-law to support their uncle and aunts, I don't think that any of the daughters-in-law would be glad to do so. Are you trying to make sons and daughters-in-law to get separated from you? Eldest uncle was angry. We are one family, we don't have to split hairs. You don't, but what good have we got? Why can't we split the hairs? We need to share every time. But they share nothing and think that we owe them something. You can be generous but leave us alone. Having said this, Miss Fang became even angrier and went to sleep. She was definitely not going to take a step backwards. She was strong enough to snap at him. She had her son and daughter-in-law to back her up, and it did not matter if her husband was arguing with her. Maybe he could just leave the family. He could check if his brothers would want to keep him and feed him. The following day, eldest uncle was not feeling well, but no one noticed it or spoke with him. That made the old man feel even worse. He had nowhere to vent his anger either. So he skipped breakfast and left with a shovel on his shoulders. Xiao Delong was down to earth and seemed to have sensed that his father was upset about something. Miss Fang sneered and waved her hand. Just leave him alone. He would come to join them for a meal when he was angry. Or he was going to ask his brothers for food. They would never be that kind to take care of him. Xiao Delong did not think that it was right, but when he was about to say something more, Miss Su blinked at him and stopped him. Chapter 104. Ms. Zus Anticipation. Miss Su snapped at him. Don't be silly. Dad and Mom must have had a row. As their juniors we should not get involved in the matter. Xiao Dalong was startled. A row? That can't be possible. They were fine last night? Miss Su snorted. Who knows? But just listen to what Mom says. If you ever dare say anything more, she will teach you a lesson. Xiao Dalong thought for a while and nodded with a small answer, saying nothing more. After breakfast, Qiao Xian asked them to help dig the Gastrodia alatas. Qi, third brother, and I found a large patch of it, and they are very valuable. Brother and sister-in-law help us in bringing it back. I will pay you 5 liang a day. It will take just a couple of days. She had asked Ms. Fang about the payment, and Ms. Fang agreed with it. Only Qiao Xian recognized Gastrodia alata, and it was she who found this valuable plant, so Ms. Fang even believed that 5 liang for the couple would be a little too much. 5 liang for one day? If Qiao Xian was a stingy person, she could have kept it as a secret and sell it on her own. She could have earned all the money by herself. But she exposed this to the family because she treated them well. Also, half of her earnings would need to be handed out to the shared savings. Xiao Dalong and his wife as well as Xiao Sanlang were shocked. Fifth sister-in-law, Ms. Z's voice was shivering. Are you saying that we can earn 5 liang a day? 5 liang? Xiao Dalong found that Ms. Z's reaction was a little bit improper, but he could not help but turn to Ms. Su, who was gasping. He looked at Qiao Xian and said, Fifth sister-in-law, have you made a mistake? Xiao Sanlang gasped and had not become normal yet. Brother. Qiao Xian smiled. I have not made a mistake. 5 liang for one person per day, 10 liang for 2 days, but please keep it a secret. I will absolutely keep it a secret. Fifth sister-in-law, let's go now. Miss Su almost jumped in excitement. 10 liang for 2 days. They would earn 20 liang for 2 days together. In a couple of years, they would be able to afford to send Junyan to school, even after handing out the money to the shared savings. Miss Fang could not help but throw Miss Su a disdainful look. This narrow-minded woman, she acted as if she had never seen any money before. But then she realized that she had really never seen much money before. So she decided to drop any disciplining talks with her. Just listen carefully. Miss Fang snorted. You should tell this to no one else, including your father. If you meet your mother's family, you should keep it a secret from them as well. Never mention this to anyone ever, understand? Miss Su was startled and nodded constantly. So did Xiao Dalong and the others. Soon they set out to do the work. Xiao Yunduan tagged along as well. He was trying to take a walk in his spare time, to balance his time devoted to his studies. They worked fast and it took them just half a day to finish the work. Compared to the digging, transporting was an even more difficult task. It was a long way to go. They were all good at physical labor work, but it took some effort to carry everything out. Xiao Xiaoqi rented a bullock cart and they all gathered at the entrance of the village. Xiao Yunduan decided to keep Qiao Xian company in the town, whilst Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao followed along. Miss Su was very excited. She was nervous too and did not follow along out of hesitation. Do you think that fifth sister-in-law will give us the money? Miss Su did not believe that it was a reliable thing. That plant looked like cheap stuff. Were they worth a penny? Chapter 105 Acceptance. Xiao Dalong said, Fifth sister-in-law doesn't joke around. When she makes a promise, she definitely sticks to it. Miss Su nodded and smiled. Then we will have 20 liang altogether and we are going to have savings of our own. Yes. Xiao Dalong smiled with brightened eyes. They sold a lot of plants this time, and the weight became 268 kilograms. Manager Qin counted it as 270 kilograms instead. The payment was 1,080 liang altogether. Manager Qin's eyes almost popped out, and he asked his assistant to serve them tea. He said in a flattering tone, Mr. Xiao and Mrs. Xiao, how much more of this do you have? Qiao Xian thought for a while. Similar to this amount, not too much. It was wild growing and the production wasn't that great. Otherwise 20 mu of Gastrodia alata would have led them to great fortune. Good. Manager Qin said with a smile. We want it all, we buy it at this price, okay? Qiao Xian smiled. Okay. Qiao Xian gave Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao 100 liang each. It was they who kept Qiao Xian company when she found Gastrodia alata and they deserved to have this much share. The two of them accepted the money happily. Qiao Xian gave nothing to Xiao Yunduan, but asked him with a smile. I can keep it for you and you can turn to me when you need money, alright? Xiao Yunduan suddenly thought of how his mother guarded the money at home, and how his sister-in-law watched out for the savings, so he wondered what she meant. But Xiao Yunduan cut off the suspicion and nodded. Okay, Xiao Xian chuckled and stuffed the money into her arms. Back at home they started to divide the money. They gave Xiao Dalong, Mrs. Su and Xiao Sanling 10 liang each and they would receive 10 liang more the following day. Miss Su was so happy that her eyes sparkled. She thanked her constantly and wondered where she should keep the money. Xiao Sanling was glad as well. He had the money. And he was going to sell more of this plant with his brother tomorrow as well. He was going to buy a lot of good food. Like braised pork, roasted chicken, big ducks and all kinds of delicious meat dishes from restaurant Yanha, some candied sugar-coated dried fruits from dim sum shops, melon seeds and peanuts and so on. He was going to buy a lot. It made him so happy. Qiao Xian gave 100 liang to Ms. Fang as well. Ms. Fang accepted the money when Xiao Yunduan told her to. Qiao Xian could not help but smile. Mom, I really admire you for how you deal with different things. I am so glad to have a mother-in-law like you. Ms. Fang was not greedy at all, which Qiao Xian appreciated greatly. Honestly, you girl. Ms. Fang chuckled. It is Duan's honor to have married you. But you are right, I am not greedy. I feel so glad to have you here. Yes. Qiao Xian smiled. Mom, you are kind and friendly, and you will certainly have a lot of good fortune. Ah, that is great. Miss Fang laughed loudly. Xiao Yunduan. He almost believed that he was the extra one. The following day they worked hard and earned 1,260 liang after the sale. Qiao Xian gave 100 liang to Miss Fang, Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao each, and gave 20 liang to Xiao Sanlang, Xiao Dalong and Mrs. Su respectively. Chapter 106. Qiao Xian more satisfied she had 900 liang left to herself. In this way she had approximately 1,900 liang saved with her. Great that she had the superpower. Money just came in like a flood. Otherwise she would not have been able to find those precious things in the mountains. After all, it wasn't easy to find those hidden treasures in the mountains, and that was why the villagers were all so poor. A day later, Qiao Xian planted 2 mu of Gastrodia alata. She had asked manager Qin to get 2 mu of Panax noto ginseng and 2 mu of Taizi ginseng seeds for her. It would be better if he could get ginseng seeds or ginseng that was still alive. Manager Qin nodded and even signed a contract with her. He asked her to keep planting those things and they would buy all the plants at a relatively reasonable price. Also, they were also going to return the money for the seeds to her. Well, if the plants did not grow, then she would have to bear the cost of the seeds. This was because the seeds for Panax noto ginseng and Taizi ginseng were not cheap. Qiao Xian heard that Mingren Tang was operated by the Tang family in the capital, which was a medical family and received full respect. The grandpa, namely the master of the family, used to be the imperial doctor for the emperor. He was from a very noble and reputable family of medicine. They might not be the most prestigious one, yet they were at least one of the most prestigious ones. Due to the special social status, even the most prestigious families would not dare offend them, and sometimes the most prominent families would even want to do them a favor. After all, everyone needed doctors at some point. The richer a family was, the more scared they were of diseases. That was why Qiao Xian became even more satisfied. If she was able to continue her collaboration with the Tang family, then her original parents would not dare do anything to her either. The Tang family was a noble family and they had been running a medical business, which needed a stellar reputation. Due to her and Xiao Yunduan's social status, the Tang family would not do anything like stealing the techniques from her, like planting those herbs. Miss Su was willing to help when they were planting Gastrodia alata. She was very envious of those 2 mu of Gastrodia alata. She could not help but let out an emotional sigh, standing with Xiao Dalong. This is a very valuable plant and they are going to make even more money. What about us seeking these plants in the mountains too? If we find some ourselves, we are going to make a fortune as well. She knew that even if half of the earnings was given to the shared savings, it would still mean a great deal. Xiao Dalong was a down-to-earth man. He said to her, "They are not so easy to plant. We know nothing about it. Just drop it. We can't recognize those valuable things in the mountains and it is dangerous out there. We have earned so much this time already." Miss Su pursed her lips. "It is never too much money for us. Also, we have earned 60 liang, but 30 liang are for the shared savings and we only have 30 liang left. That is so little." Xiao Dalong turned a surprised look at her. 30 liang was not enough? Darling, don't overthink it. We are just ordinary farmers and we should not be greedy. All right. Miss Su felt as if she were stricken down. She snorted. "Those are just thoughts, look at what you are saying." Xiao Dalong scratched his head and tugged her sleeves. I don't mean anything else, I just mean that we should learn to be satisfied. Look at what we have now, it is enough. Chapter 107 Recognition Miss Su. This man was dull and dumb in head. Messages just did not get through. But he was slightly better than before. Who would complain about gaining so much money? The fifth sister-in-law could pay them this much money, probably because she herself had earned a lot. Well, she could not say anything about it since she earned the money with her abilities. But if she could recognize what the plant was like, then she could go into the mountains and dig them herself. She could sell them and earn the money for her own pocket. The more Miss Su thought about this, the more she wanted to do so. So the next day she pretended to work in the land but sneaked into the mountains instead. She was going to find Gastrodia alata. She had no knowledge of what it looked like, but when she was digging the plant, she bore the appearance in her mind. As long as she could run into the plant, she was going to recognize it. But Gastrodia alata was not easy to find. Without Xiao Xian's superpower, it could not be possibly found at all. Anxious, Miss Su panicked. She kept going deep into the forest without any awareness. The path as well as the trees were getting so strange and the veins were flourishing, getting denser. But Miss Su just did not notice the change. When she realized that something was wrong, she glanced about as cold sweat dripped alongside her cheeks. Where was she? It was very quiet around, and trees were covering her head, as if there were numerous pairs of eyes hiding behind the woods, and a beast would come to lunge at her and eat her up. Suddenly Miss Su let out a scream, when she heard a weird sound of a bird chirping across the mountains. She tripped over and fell. She kept screaming and ran backwards despite the pain. Luckily, Miss Su left some footprints on the path that was barely visited by anyone. She grew up in the countryside and often worked in the mountains. So even though she went through the difficulty at the beginning, she managed to escape from the woods. When she came to the familiar place, Miss Su collapsed as she panted, crying. She felt so regretful, though she had no idea what made her feel this way. But after this experience, she understood that she was not capable enough to do it herself. She could not make a fortune through this. Miss Su felt very jealous and admired her fifth sister-in-law. No wonder her mother-in-law kept speaking highly of fifth sister-in-law and calling her a lucky star. True, she was indeed a lucky star. She had to admit that she was not destined to be as lucky. Well, she had some savings in hand, and even though they had separated from the big family, the family of four would definitely live a good life. Also, some of fifth sister-in-law's earnings would be given to the shared savings too, so when mother-in-law had enough money in her hand, the whole family would have a better life as well. Hence, she decided to leave the money-making job to her fifth sister-in-law. She was sure that fifth sister-in-law would not forget about her, whenever she was going to make a fortune. As she thought about this, Miss Su felt slightly comforted. From that moment on, she dropped her strange thoughts. The whole family had no idea what Miss Su had been through. Qiao Xian spent the following days at home, since she was really tired in the past few days of non-stop mountain visits. Xiao Taotao was making the shoe soles and Qiao Xian helped her. There were no other entertainment things she could do, so she got really bored and decided to kill the time by doing some needlework. Chapter 108 Later in the afternoon, Xiao Xian spent some time on the flower field which was located at the entrance of the village. She had used her superpower to make the trees grow and now some already started to bloom. The 30 bee boxes were standing in 3 rows neatly, with numerous bees going in and out, buzzing around. Xiao Xian stopped in front of one gardenia tree that was taller than herself. She looked at the blossoms attached to the twigs, reached out for the trunk and poured in more superpower. Soon, one of the blossoms started to open itself and gradually while flowers covered the entire tree. The white egg-sized flowers were blossoming in an enticing way, covering up the trees and giving off a wonderful scent. Xiao Xian picked several flowers and held them in her hands. Then she put in more superpower trying to extract the oil from them. She rubbed the flowers, crushed the petals and instilled her superpower gradually, extracting the water inside and then made it evaporate under the sunshine. It was a difficult process because the superpower wasn't easily controlled. A small distraction might ruin the entire work. Soon Xiao Xian honed her skill. The crushed petals soon turned brown, and Xiao Xian cast the petals all over the ground. She noticed the water drops at the tip of her finger, which was very small. The scent was very pure and strong. It was the smell of gardenias indeed. It must be the extracted oil from gardenias. Xiao Xian was overjoyed. It seemed that she was going to pay another visit to the town. Some tools needed to be made and jars had to be bought. She needed to have a large white porcelain bowl and pestle for pounding the medicine. The petals could not be pinched by hand. It was much easier to pound them in the bowl first and then refine them later. She was going to buy some sealed bottles made of jadestone for the oil. She was not going to expand the 60 mu of flower field. It would be too obvious. She wasn't afraid of the villagers but the madam at the mansion. She was going to do something bigger when she grew stronger. But she was going to do something on the sly. She was going to buy good fields directly from the landowners in the town. She could hire some people to take care of the land, and did not have to do everything personally. She was not going to expand the flower field for the time being. She could grow all kinds of flowers that she wanted, but if she planted too many flowers, it would cause suspicion. With her superpower, she could make the flowers bloom numerous times on the same field. The superpower would grow stronger the more she practiced it. As Qiao Xian was mulling over the plan, she saw that the flowers had already attracted many bees. Qiao Xian smiled. It seemed that they all loved it. She also sensed that her superpower would soon grow stronger and more fragrant. Satisfied, Qiao Xian left the flower field, locked the door and went home. She had just walked into the yard when she saw Xiao Xiaoqi, Xiao Taotao, Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qing feeding ducks and geese. Miss Fong was watching and laughing standing next to them. They dug some fish and shrimps from the bucket and cast them onto the ground. The ducks and geese were all jostling to get the food. They looked so cute and fresh and the sight made Junyan and Xiao Qing really happy. Mom? Fifth sister-in-law. Here. Qiao Xian smiled after greeting them. Where did the ducks come from? Chapter 109 Fish and Shrimp. Her mother-in-law used to think that raising ducks was a waste of food, and it was not worth the while. That was why Qiao Xian was very surprised to see 20 ducks appearing in the yard. Miss Fong smiled. Your third brother went to town today and I asked him to bring the ducks home. Then she pressed down her voice and chuckled with pride. Now we have food for ducks. When they grow bigger you can just make them into dishes. We can all get a taste of it. Qiao Xian raised her eyebrows but then nodded with a smile. That sounds good. I can make many dishes with duck. Mom, just wait to taste the dishes. Xiao Zioki's eyes sparkled. Fifth sister-in-law, what about me buying 2 more large ducks from town in a couple of days, when the market is on? Miss Fong glared at him in amusement. You boy, since when did you pick up your third brother's bad habit? Everyone laughed. Xiao Xiaoqi chuckled in embarrassment, scooped a small shrimp from the bucket and cast it onto the ground. Qiao Xian was brought back to the scene. She said, You went to fetch fish and shrimps from the river? She leaned forward and saw many shrimps, big and small as well as several fish in the bucket. They all looked like delicacies to her. Seeing them chuckling as they fed them to geese and ducks, Qiao Xian could not help but let out a sigh of concern. Those were all river shrimps and fishes from fresh, unpolluted rivers. They could all turn into delicious dishes. She had paid too much attention to the mountains, ignoring the treasure in the river. There were many fish and shrimps in the river these days. It is such a pity that you are feeding them to the ducks and geese. They can be our food. Xiao Taotao's eyes widened. But fifth sister-in-law, they have a weird taste, we don't like it. Xiao Xiaoqi was motivated instead. Fifth sister-in-law, are you able to come up with dishes using shrimps and fish? I can get them home now. Xiao Taotao got the point too. Oh, me too, me too. Fish and shrimps had a weird smell, and villagers did not want to put too much oil into making them, nor did they want to add much wine to drive away the taste. So they believed that those things could not be turned into delicious food. Gradually, people rarely visited the river for fish and shrimps, unless it was a famine. Hence they just got the fish and shrimp for ducks and chickens. Qiao Xian nodded and smiled. Of course they can be made into food. There are various kinds of dishes that can be made. Do we have many of these in the river? Let's visit the river and we will make yummy food tonight. Hooray! Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao cheered. They dropped the ducks and geese and went to fetch a bucket and net, heading towards the river. They had a net at home which they had no idea when they made it and when they last used it. Qiao Xian smiled. We can go to the town to buy some fish poles. They should come handy in fishing. However, those things were ordinary tools which might not be available on sale. They could find a carpenter to make some hooks instead. Miss Fong did not know what she should say. You have so many plans. You are so naughty. Keep your fifth sister-in-law protected and stay safe. Got it? Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao answered from a distance away. They came to the riverside and saw seaweed growing all over the river with slow-flowing water. Chapter 110. Xiao Xian's interest. Xiao Xiaoqi took off his shoes, rolled up his trousers and tied them around his waist. He threw the net into the root of the seaweed, gave it a push and took a step backwards. Finally the net was cast out. There were numerous, bouncing shrimps in the net as well as 2 finger-sized fish that showed their white bellies immediately. Xiao Xiaoqi threw away the leaves and small things out of the net proficiently, and gathered up the fish and shrimp, putting them into the bucket. Soon after, Xiao Xian tried to explore the river with her superpower. Her eyes widened after a moment, and she was excited and motivated. There were numerous shrimps, fish and crabs swimming in there. Xiao Xian could see all the fish and shrimps hidden in the seaweeds clearly. However, shrimps and fish were not like those plants in the mountains. They were water animals which were flexible and difficult to catch. Also, what Xiao Xian could see was invisible to Xiao Xiaoqi, so they had to make some effort and needed a bit of luck. Xiao Xian felt really sorry to see some large fish swimming away from the net. Let me try. Xiao Xian intended to go into the water. But Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao turned her down directly. Xiao Xian knew that they were worried about her safety, so she had no choice but to drop the idea. Therefore she helped them standing on the bank. They were very lucky to have so many wild, fresh fish and shrimps in this era, and with the guidance of Xiao Xian, they managed to catch some fish every now and then. There were already crucian carps the size of 4 fingers, a carp, 3 yellow peppers the size of 2 fingers and several small trash fish the size of 2 or 3 fingers in the bucket. Xiao Xian also made a few attempts, whenever it was within her abilities. However, she could not catch big fish each time from where she stood. So after a while she only managed to catch 2 large fish. Suddenly she saw an old turtle that was bigger than her palm, hidden in a crevice under the water. Xiao Xian was overjoyed and hurriedly booed to remind Xiao Xiaoqi and pointed it to him. Xiao Xiaoqi nodded and tiptoed there. He bent his back and quickly got the turtle in his hands. What a large turtle! The turtle was fun. Children from the village would always catch one when they were playing or swimming in the river during summer. They often brought it home as a pet, but gradually the pet would be gone. Xiao Xian asked him to put it into the bucket, smiling. It is really good for soup. Seeing the harvest in the bucket, Xiao Xian smiled. Time to go home. We have enough to eat today and can come anytime we want for more. There were innumerable fish and shrimps in the river. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao nodded. Xiao Xiaoqi went back to the bank and the 3 of them went home together. They worked on the shrimps and fish and left the remaining in the vat for the time being. The shrimps were dried in the pot and seasoned with some salt. In this way they could be stored for 3 days without turning bad. Chives were added to fry with shrimps, and eggs were cracked to make pancakes. They would be either deep-fried or pan-fried. The internal organs of the small fish were removed, wrapped in flour batter and fried in a pan. It was crispy and delicious. There were still pickles at home which could be used for dinner at night. Crucian carp, yellow spicy diced and unknown fish were used to make a big pot of pickles and miscellaneous fish, with a little pepper added to make it sour and a spicy appetizer. Xiao Xian served the fried fish on the plate for Xiao Xiaoqi. The fish were small finger-sized and the bones were already fried. They could be chewed and crushed easily, so even Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qing could eat them. Chapter 111. Rich. The dish of deep-fried fish was eaten up by the 4 of them quickly. Miss Fong tried it and smiled. Miss Qiao, you know everything. The fish tastes great. Then she added another sentence. Well, you used a lot of oil, right? Xiao Xian smiled. Yes, deep-fried things are delicious, and I can try some more dishes like these in the future. Okay. Miss Fong smiled. She had plenty of money now and they could use as much oil as they wanted to. It was fine. Apart from the money Xiao Xian contributed towards the shared savings, Xiao Dalong, Miss Su and Xiao Taotao had also offered some money to her. Miss Fong had almost lost track of the amount, and she felt really confident at the moment. Of course, she was not taking any money from her children for herself. She was actually saving it for their future use. Xiao Sanlang came home too when Xiao Xian was making dinner. Xiao Sanlang had gone to the town to buy food. With money in his hands, he was really drooling thinking about the dish. He only got time today since he was helping Xiao Xian plant the day before. Xiao Sanlang was also very confident with money in his hands. He went to the town-famous restaurant Yanha, and bought braised chickens, fish, deep-fried meat and steamed ducks. Xiao Sanlang was very satisfied by the delicious dishes. He had been to the town before, and he was salivating over the smell that came out of the restaurant whenever he passed by. He had sworn in his heart that he was definitely going to save enough money to treat himself to the dishes of this restaurant. The belief was so firm that he could not get rid of it. Therefore, the moment he got money, he came to visit this place directly. It was indeed a great place. Each dish was delicious. No wonder they were sold at such a high price. But after one meal, he lost his motivation. He made a careful comparison, and found that fifth sister-in-law's cooking skills were not worse than the dishes served here, and she could even make better food sometimes. Therefore, he was going to buy raw meat and take it home. He would ask his fifth sister-in-law to make the dishes instead. But he had not expected that fifth sister-in-law would be able to cook fish, since it was never easy to make it, and only restaurants would normally serve good fish dishes. Xiao Sanlang kept half duck and chicken untouched, and he asked the waiter to wrap it up with leaves and have it covered by a layer of yellow paper. Xiao Sanlang left the restaurant in satisfaction. He bought 2 more roast chickens, 5 or 6 kinds of snacks from the Lanhua dim sum shop, and bought melon seeds, peanuts, preserved apricots, dried jujubes, preserved peaches, dried plums and other snacks at the Guiji roasted goods shop. It was a big bag full of stuff before he went to buy the ducks. Xiao Sanlang did not let his mother know about how much food he had bought. He was worried that his mother would blame him for wasting money. He delivered the ducks home and gave Xiao Junyan and his sister 2 bags of snacks. He put down the roast chicken in the kitchen as well as a slice of pork belly before dashing off. He was going to take the snacks he had bought to young Xiaoni. He was going to share it with his future wife. Young Xiaoni was still out doing work. In this way, she was able to stay out of her brother's home and avoid seeing them and getting annoyed. Xiao Sanlang found her soon. Caught by Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian, the 2 of them learned to hide themselves in the forest. Perched up in the mountain, they could see what was going on in all directions, so they could know instantly when someone was nearby. Chapter 112 Foodies. Xiao Sanlang brought out all kinds of snacks and Yang Xiaoni's eyes started to sparkle. Brother Sanlang, you treat me so well. Wow, the chicken leg and duck leg seem so tasty. Yang Xiaoni kept eating the chicken leg and duck leg, feeling really satisfied. Xiao Sanlang chuckled. Tasty, right? I saved all of these for you. Yes, they are delicious. Yang Xiaoni nodded and took one bite on the chicken leg and passed it to Xiao Sanlang. Please, Brother Sanlang, you eat some too. Xiao Sanlang was also drooling for the chicken leg, but he thought of the food he was able to eat whilst Yang Xiaoni had to suffer a great deal for almost half a month. So Xiao Sanlang swallowed his saliva and shook his head, smiling. I'm okay, I am full. You can just eat it all. Okay. Yang Xiaoni did not show any more generosity, seeing that he turned her down. She soon finished 2 legs and some pieces of meat. Then she wrapped up the meat and smiled. I will eat the remaining later. Xiao Sanlang pulled out all the other snacks like melon seeds or peanuts. Xiaoni, look. I bought them myself, let's eat them together. Yang Xiaoni's eyes were bright as she cheered in happiness. Ah, you are so nice. We have so much food to eat, that is great. Xiao Sanlang was excited as well. He nodded. Yes, these are all ours. They started to feast out in the wild. They tried every dish and discussed it enthusiastically. When they were full, they started to eat melon seeds and peanuts. Oh yes, Brother Sanlang, where did you get the money for all this? Yang Xiaoni asked. Yang Xiaoni really did not think of this before, did she? Xiao Sanlang said proudly, don't worry, I get paid for my work, good money. I still have some savings. We will buy a lot of other good food when you marry me. Oh, by the way, you know about my 5th sister-in-law? She is such a good cook. You will realize it when you come to live with us. Yang Xiaoni looked really excited and smiled brightly. Xiao Sanlang added. What about me giving you 2 liang so you can go and buy some dresses and anything else you want? We can talk about this later. Yang Xiaoni pursued. It is not long before I can marry you, so it is fine. If my brother knows about the money in my hand, he will steal it. Xiao Sanlang snapped angrily. Yang Liang and his wife are terrible. You will not be with them for much longer. Of course. Married sister would never need to care about her brother or sister. Xiao Sanlang spent half a day with his future wife. They spent some time chatting after eating. Xiao Sanlang gave the remaining food to Yang Xiaoni before he left reluctantly. Yang Xiaoni finished the food and hid the snacks. She tucked them over her bed when she returned to 3rd Grandma Yang's home. She did not share them with third Grandma Yang and her family either, otherwise it would be too annoying since she could not tell them where she got them from. Since she was full, young Xiaoni did not return to her brother's home for dinner. She did not go back to make dinner either. Miss Tian was so annoyed that she kept cursing young Xiaoni for being lazy and ungrateful. The four of them finished all the food without leaving anything for young Xiaoni. Chapter 113 Sweet Barberries. It was a bustling scene in the first section of the Xiao family. The dishes served that evening included small river shrimp stir-fried with leeks, pickled cabbage and miscellaneous fish pot, sweet and sour carp, which were all paired with 2 vegetarian dishes. It was a table full of color, aroma and taste. The whole family was curious about the new way the fish had been cooked. They believed that Xiao Xian was skilled at it, and did not hesitate to pick up their chopsticks. Everyone spoke highly of the dishes. Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qing loved sweet and sour carp best. Xiao Xian had made them a small portion of shrimp with steamed egg. The adults loved every dish. Eldest uncle said happily, "The fish is really tasty, Miss Qiao. You can tell the method to your second aunt-in-law and third aunt-in-law, so they could make some and have a taste of it." They could not afford to buy meat, but there were many fish and shrimps in the river. Elder uncle's concern for the second section of the family and third section of the family was already deep inside his head, and he subconsciously thought of them in every aspect. Xiao Xian, as well as everyone else in the first section of the family, already lost interest in countering those words. She presented the way of how the dishes were made with a smile. She even added many extra steps to how the dishes were made. Hearing that so much oil was needed, and wine for pickling and salt and seasonings, eldest uncle no longer had the motivation of telling the second and the third section of the family about it. They would not be able to make the dishes in this way at all. No wonder the dishes were tasty. They consisted of many condiments. He did not dare to ask his daughter-in-law to share the dishes, because all of these were bought with his daughter-in-law's dowry money. Ms. Fang threw a satisfied look at Xiao Xian, smiling happily. Soon it was the 3rd day of May. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. They were discussing how they should celebrate the Dragon Boat Festival. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian planned to visit the town, whilst Miss Fang was making preparations for glutinous rice dumplings. The leaves and the glutinous rice were all well prepared. They normally made a few glutinous rice dumplings to celebrate the festival in the past and made some eggs for the children. But they had a lot of money this year, so they decided to make it big. Xiao Xian became interested in making glutinous rice dumplings as well. One day before the festival, Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan went into the town to buy meat, ribs as well as the seasonings for the meat. They sliced the pork belly and put the rib in seasoning sauce for the dumplings the following day. In addition to pork belly chestnut dumplings, there were pork belly mushroom dumplings, pork ribs dumplings, and some red bean candy jujube dumplings, 8 treasure dumplings and alkaline water dumplings which they stored for half a month after cooking. In previous years, the Dragon Boat Festival was filled with alkaline water dumplings and bean dumplings. At most, a little chestnut was added, but meat dumplings were never made, so everyone was looking forward to it. Xiao Xian felt a bit regretful. She should have pickled some salted duck egg for salted yolk dumplings. She started to miss salted eggs. Well, she could buy some to make them herself. On the 3rd day of May, Miss Qiao went into the mountains to pick the leaves. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xiaoqi as well as Xiao Taotao went into the mountains to hunt. They decided to bring some wild animals back for the festival. They were also seeking fresh mushrooms for the dumplings. They were lucky enough to get wild roosters, wild rabbits, mushrooms and yams. On a large barberry tree they saw the large-sized fruits hanging. Xiao Xian held her hands against the trunk, casting the superpower without disclosing much. Xiao Xiaoqi climbed up onto the tree, picked one and put it into his mouth. His eyes sparkled. It is so sweet. He picked a large bunch of it and said, "Fifth brother, fifth sister-in-law, try these." Chapter 114 Rules. Xiao Xian smiled and started to think. Of course they were sweet. She had used her superpower to make them so. The 3 of them nodded in agreement. The fruits were really sweet. Xiao Taodao cheered. It is rare to have such sweet barberries, let's take them home. So they filled up half of the basket with barberries. Everyone in the family nodded and spoke highly of the sweet fruits, which they had brought home in a large quantity. Miss Fang asked Xiao Xiaoqi to lead the way again, so Xiao Dalong, Miss Su and Xiao Sanlang could all go to carry the barberries home for drying and winemaking. The following day Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian went into the town for meat. They inquired about the landowner. They visited the landowner and decided to buy some land from him. Xiao Xian did not want to buy sporadic fields. She expected to buy patches and lots of fields. She could buy good fields as well as dry fields close to the water fields too. I will come to the town 3 times a month. Remember to select the fields for me. I will pay well. The landowner agreed but added a caveat. I can't find one very fast. We have to wait. Xiao Xian was aware of this too and nodded. Honestly, no households would sell water fields easily these days, because water fields were the source of their food, water and earnings. Only those who splurged or had no other way out would sell their water fields. Once water fields were sold, not everyone was able to buy them. There were rules inside. When someone in a clan intended to sell the water fields, those from the same clan got the priority to buy them, and if those from the same clan did not want them, then the outsiders would be the next choice. Even the outsiders were divided into different categories. For example, if someone from the Xiao family wanted to sell fields and no one from the Xiao family wanted to buy them, then it would be the Ding family who had the right next. If the Ding family did not want to buy them, then the other families from the village were allowed to buy them. When no one from the above-mentioned families wanted to buy them, then it would be the other villagers' turn. Also, cultivated talent and advanced scholar would have the rights to buy the fields first, before the remaining ones could do so. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks to sum it up, it was a long queue. Therefore, if Xiao Xian wanted to buy good fields from other villages, then she needed to have, to put it simply, good luck. But Xiao Xian was not in a hurry. What she wanted to do was to wait quietly. She wanted the fields not for the income, but for her fundamental competence and capital. She wanted to have control over more resources. When this conversation was done, Xiao Xian went to fetch some stuff from the craftsman such as essences and other things. The modes and tubes for lipsticks were already made, including 12 sets of modes and 600 tubes. She paid the remaining amount and took them home, whilst booking another batch of tubes. When she was done with shopping, the two of them returned to the village. The moment they arrived home, Xiao Taotao, who was taking care of the babies at home, told them that Ms. Fong and Ms. Su as well as Xiao Dalong went to Widow Sun's home due to some trouble. Startled, they hurried there. There were many people gathered at Widow Sun's door, which was noisy and messy. Ms. Fang's cursing sound as well as Widow Sun's sneer could be heard from a distance away. Then came Widow Sun's loud scream. How dare you! The two women must have gotten into a fight. Both of them were startled. As the couple arrived, Widow Sun was under Ms. Fong, being beaten and crying loudly. Ms. Su was really surprised as she stood next to them. Widow Sun's daughter Ding Qingqing went up to help Widow Sun, but Ms. Fong, who was really furious, started to beat the daughter as well. The mother and daughter were in a disadvantageous position. Chapter 115A Fight. Xiao Dalong and Xiao Xiaoqi intended to separate them, but they were scared. Widow Sun wasn't a gentle woman. What if the touched Widow Sun? Things would get complicated. The most troublesome was Ding Qingqing, who was a girl and should not be touched randomly. They were panicking. Xiao Xian screamed, "Mom?" Then she went up, took hold of Ding Qingqing's wrist, who was about to scratch Miss Fang's face. She dragged her away as she turned to Miss Su. "Help us, sister-in-law." She was not a strong woman, while Ding Qingqing was quite strong. She wasn't able to drag her away alone. Only now did Miss Su bring back to herself. She went up and helped. Both of them dragged away Ding Qingqing, who was screaming and shouting. When Ding Qingqing was dragged away, Miss Fong slapped Widow Sun's face 2 times. Xiao Yunduan and his brother helped Miss Fong stand up on her feet. "Mom, what is going on?" Widow Sun decided not to get up. She remained on the ground, crying and cursing. "They are such shameless people. They are bullying a widow like me. I want to die, I want to die." She was already in bad shape, with unkempt hair and red prints on her face and neck. Tears were running down her cheeks, whilst her nose was runny. She looked horrible. Miss Fong spat and cursed. "You shameless bitch. How dare you spread rumors about me? You are a widow, so what? How dare you cry when you spread rumors around? You are the shameless one." Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Miss Fong started to tell the story in anger. It was a long tale. The first section of the Xiao family had brought many mushrooms home, and the villagers who saw that they had no problem eating mushrooms from the mountains, also went to the mountains to fetch mushrooms. They got some from the Xiao family first and decided to find the right ones. Miss Fong gave them generously to those who came to the door. But there were so many mushrooms in the mountains and they were open to everyone in the village. They could never get enough of them. Even the second section of the family and the third section of the family went to find some mushrooms. But they did not want to put much seasoning inside the food, so they did not think they were tasty, thus dropping the idea. They even laughed at the first section of the family for eating horrible things like these. However, all went well until some family got poisoned by the mushrooms from the mountains. Luckily, it wasn't highly poisonous and they didn't eat too much. The family had abdominal pain, vomiting, and bile came out. After tossing all night, they drank a few large bowls of mung bean soup before getting better. After that, the villagers were too frightened to find mushrooms or try new things. However, Widow Sun kept spreading rumors around the village, saying that it was the first section of the Xiao family who set them up. But for her mushrooms, no one would have got poisoned. So the Xiao family should take responsibility. There had already been many people who were jealous of the Xiao family, and they believed that what Widow Sun said was true. So they started to complain about the Xiao family. It was true, but for them, no one would have eaten the mushrooms in the mountains. Therefore it was their fault. The affected family also wanted to get some compensation from the Xiao family. Chapter 116. Reason they had a rich daughter-in-law, didn't they? They must be having a lot of money. That was how those terrible rumors went about. They had not dared to spread the rumor at the beginning, but Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma joined the group, which emboldened them. When Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma failed to take advantage of the first section of the family, they found that Ms. Fang had found her supporter, namely her daughter-in-law. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma were very annoyed. With this opportunity in hand, they started to make a big noise. They were not defending the Xiao family at all. Therefore, when the villagers found that the two women from the Xiao family were spreading rumors, the others started to spread even worse and wilder rumors. Ms. Fang's friends passed on the message to Ms. Fang. Ms. Fang was so annoyed. So, she went about in the village and cursed at anyone who said those things to her. After all, she had to catch them right on the spot. She could not just let the rumor spread. Otherwise, it would be her family which would look bad. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Right then she happened to catch Widow Sun, who was the main culprit behind the rumor. Ms. Fang and Widow Sun had never liked each other, and at this moment she was taking revenge for all the past doings. Ms. Fang gave Widow Sun, who was in the middle of making a false claim, a push, and then they started to shout at each other and fight. Ms. Fang glanced about and shouted at Widow Sunday, "Are you so stupid? There are many poisonous mushrooms in the mountains and everyone knows that. We pick mushrooms for ourselves. Who has the say to stop us? No one has set the rules for picking mushrooms in the mountains. It has nothing to do with our family whether others want to get them or not. It's not that people in our family are forcing someone to go up the mountain to harvest. Miss Sun, you slanted mouth, slanted eyes, black heart and liver, a bad stomach woman. Why did you say that Ding Dania's family got into trouble because of us? Should our family be responsible for compensation? If you don't tell me a reason today, I will tear your stinky mouth apart." Only now did Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian understand what was going on. How ridiculous. Xiao Yunduan said coldly. "Mom, don't worry, everyone with a wise head would understand what is going on. They won't find the ridiculous thing worth the while." Xiao Xian laughed and said in a mocking tone, "Auntie Sun, it is your fault. You are trying to cause trouble between our family and Ding Daniu. We never offended you before, did we? We eat mushrooms, wild plants and fish and shrimps. We can eat whatever we want. No one can dictate what to do to us, right? We are all adults and we are not stupid, we know what the reason is. You are so silly to have caused the conflict between us." All the villagers nodded. Some felt guilty and anxious, some were reasonable. True. The matter has nothing to do with the Xiao family. True, they never forced you to eat the mushrooms. Miss Fang sneered. Do you think that she had a brain? If she did, she wouldn't have done something like this. You bitch, stop pretending to be dead. Speak now, speak. Here is the stage for you. Chapter 117. Louder cries. How dare you call me a bully? I can scold you and hit you as much as I want. You have no right to complain about others when you are being a bitch. Miss Fang glared at Widow Sun and intended to kick her. Widow Sun was also good at being rude. But she had no way out when she ran into someone like Miss Fang. She was worried about the strength of the Xiao family, and Miss Fang even had a cultivated talent as a son and county magistrate's daughter as the daughter-in-law, so she did not dare to say a thing but started to sob. Disdainfully Miss Fang said, "Shame on you. You think people would find you pitiful and feel sorry for you because you are crying?" Widow Sun cried even more loudly. She was ashamed, angry and was holding a grudge. But Miss Fang did not care. She did not intend to let her go so easily. It was never easy to get rid of the sin of spreading rumors. If she was too nice they would continue to bully her. So, she could not stand being at the center of the rumor. Forced, Widow Sun could not help but collapse. "Why are you only targeting me? Everyone is spreading rumors about you. Why do you cling to me?" Qiao Xian laughed. How stupid could this woman be? She had just betrayed her accomplices. She added, "But my mother-in-law only heard the rumor from you, so it is your fault. You are still trying to cause conflicts between us and everyone else. You must not spread any more rumors for the sake of morality." All the villagers agreed and started to complain about Widow Sunday. True. She spreads rumors about everyone. How immoral. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, bad woman. Don't talk nonsense when you have no evidence. Widow Sun was so angry at the moment. Miss Fang goaded her with a sly smile. True. Otherwise you can just tell me who is spreading the rumor. Widow Sun did not dare to spill any names in case she offended others. She even regretted having shouted that out loud a while ago. She was feeling so messy inside her head. As she was just in the middle of the mess, Qiao Xian forced her. "No telling? Then you are the one creating rumors about everyone. I never knew there was anyone like this in our village." Annoyed, Widow Sun screamed. "It is Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma who did it. They did it, yes they did it." "What?" Miss Fang was startled, so was everyone else. "It is Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma." Widow Sun sneered as she calmed down. She had just revealed Miss Fang's sisters-in-law to see what could Miss Fang do about it now. But for these two women, she would not have been caught red-handed by Miss Fang today. Widow Sun thought angrily that Miss Fang could go to them for justice if she dared. "Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma both said that you have a rich daughter-in-law, so you pushed away your own family. You are selfish and self-centered, and you must be setting up the trap for the villagers to fetch the mushrooms in the mountains. You have to pay for the consequences." They even said that the first section of the family look kind, but they are actually very greedy. They try to rob their daughter-in-law's dowry, whilst the daughter-in-law is a stupid woman who has been tricked but still treats you well. How funny. Chapter 118. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma. Widow Sun decided to spill everything in one go, be it real or false. "You goddamn bitch." Miss Fang was about to beat Widow Sun out of anger before she finished her words. Ding Ching Ching screamed as she held Widow Sun in her arms. "Mom?" Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan stopped Miss Fang directly. Qiao Xian said gently, "Mom, these words are ridiculous. Widow Sun is used to causing conflicts between people, and now they are trying to separate our family. I'm not stupid. I can tell who treats me well and who doesn't. How ridiculous." "I'm not lying. It was Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma who said it. Hey you two, don't you dare run away." Widow Sun screamed at the top of her voice, as she saw Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma among the crowd. The crowd turned to the direction she was pointing towards. The villagers around Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma retreated backwards subconsciously, so the two women stood out directly. "You two." Miss Fang glared at them too, looking really furious. With teeth clenched, she asked word by word. "Is Widow Sun speaking the truth?" "I, God and Buddha in heaven, anyone who dares to lie will bring bad luck to the whole family. I can swear to God that I did not lie. Do you dare to?" Widow Sun, who had successfully switched the conflict, decided to put all the blame to the two women. Before they said anything, she screamed and stopped them with her poisonous oath. You are just talking nonsense." Widow Sun sneered. "I am not lying. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. It was time for her to feel proud. She was going to see how the three of them fought with each other. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma were dumbfounded. They could definitely counter her, but Widow Sun's vow was too fierce for them to cook up any lies. Actually, Miss Fang knew that the two sisters-in-law of hers were spreading rumors, except the one about dowry. These two sisters-in-law of hers dared to say everything. They were so used to taking advantage of the first section of the family, that they got angry when they found that they were no longer able to take advantage of them. It was as if the first section of the family owed them something big. That was why they vented their anger in this manner. It was so humiliating when they spat out the family affairs to the whole village. But she had no other way out now when Widow Sun put it out in front of everyone. You are really nice, aren't you? Miss Fong sneered. Ms. Niu explained. This is what the villagers say. I was just making some comments. Also, but for you, why would anyone go and pick the mushrooms? It is your fault. Did I force you to pick the mushrooms? Ms. Niu snorted. If you hadn't picked the mushrooms, no one else would have done the same, Xiao Xian chuckled. We aren't stupid, are we? Don't we have the ability to choose what to do and what not to do? Are you all going to follow our steps? Miss Qiao is right. I address you as my sister-in-law and we have always offered so much help to your family. But you are making complaints behind our backs. That is so hurtful. Henceforth we are not just separate sections of the family, we will live separately too. Don't come to our door whenever you feel like it from now onwards. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma looked timid, unconvinced, yet they did not dare to utter a sound. Chapter 119 Daughter-in-law. There was no need to conceal anything, when the affair was already revealed to the whole village. Miss Fong added. You think that I am coaxing my daughter-in-law for her dowry? Have you personally witnessed that? Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma became even more furious. Ms. Ma said, after Ms. Qiao becomes part of your family, you always have new clothes to wear, meat to eat and wagons full of stuff. They are all bought by Ms. Qiao. That is true. Xiao Xian smiled. I can do whatever I want with my dowry. Mom treats me well and I love to buy those for her, so what? If you don't feel that is fair, you can get a good daughter-in-law for yourself as well. Everyone started to laugh. After that, everyone felt jealous as well. Miss Fong was so lucky as to get a daughter-in-law like that. She was the ideal one. Xiao Yunduan could not help but turn to Xiao Xian. Excitement arose in his eyes, and he could not help but feel gentle towards this woman next to him. You, Ms. Ma almost wanted to spill blood out of anger. You ungrateful girl. I am doing this for your sake. You have been tricked. Just see what will happen when you lose all your dowry. That is not your business anymore. Xiao Xian smiled. I can earn money when I run out of my dowry. Moreover, I have my husband with me, right? Startled, Ms. Ma suddenly realized that Xiao Yunduan had already become a cultivated talent. He had a promising future ahead. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, no, that was not possible. Xiao Yunduan must have had dumb luck to have become a cultivated talent. It was because Lulang had gotten sick and he took his position. He was definitely not going to have a promising future. Lulang had said that Xiao Yunduan was never good at studies, and the teacher never spoke highly of him. It must have been the ancestral blessings that helped him obtain this position, and he was never going to make it to the next level. Ms. Ma could not help but say angrily, when she thought of how her son had not even made any progress in studies. You can never know what is going to happen in the future. Maybe, despite what she was thinking, she did not dare say anything bad about Xiao Yunduan, in case Miss Fong tore her apart and their elder brother would also give up helping them either. Therefore, she had to put it in an implicit way, indicating that it was Xiao Xian who was not clear-minded enough. Xiao Xian smiled even more freely. Yet again, it is not your business, second aunt-in-law. I am so happy to have a mother-in-law like this, who is like no one else, who might even cause me to lose my dowry. Villagers burst into laughter. Everyone present understood what Xiao Xian was saying and she was right. Those were true words. You. Ms. Meng got so annoyed. Miss Fong was no longer as angry as before when she heard what Xiao Xian said. She felt proud to have a daughter-in-law like this, who was helping them make a fortune and even managed to keep peace in the family. Suddenly, Miss Fong did not feel like going any further with Ms. Niu or Ms. Ma. They were just jealous of her. The more jealous they were, the better life they would live. That was the biggest revenge she could take on them. She was going to make them even angrier. Good girl, I know you are the best. You are our lucky star, and you have brought a great fortune to our family. You will get better and better. These jealous ones can wait and see, right? Chapter 120 Fight on. Ms. Fong glanced at Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma, snorting. I can tell that you never treated us well, since you have spread rumors such about us. In that case we will not hang out so often. How shameless you are to have paid this kind of respect to us, who helped you before. Just try to save some face for yourself. Ms. Fong snapped at Widow Sunday, You bitch, keep your mouth shut. If I hear anything more about this matter, I will tear your mouth apart. Let's leave. Ms. Fang left with her sons and daughters-in-law happily and proudly. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma glared at Widow Sun and left in embarrassment. Widow Sun cursed out loud for a bit and then went home with her daughter. Back at home, Ms. Fang let out a sigh of relief and said with a cold face, "Just listen carefully, don't you show a smile to the second section of the family and third section of the family anymore. They are such ungrateful people. I will never share any food with them in the future. How dare they try to take advantage of me?" Qiao Xian tried to console Ms. Fang, and distracted her by discussing the preparation of festivals. Xiao Yunduan tried to speak with Qiao Xian, but then decided not to. Qiao Xian leaned forward and asked him with a smile. "Anything you want to say, darling?" Xiao Yunduan. She was calling him darling so naturally. It sounded really nice. "Don't be mad about what was being discussed about your dowry." "What? I am not." Qiao Xian smiled. "My dowry is not valuable. Anyways, I am prosperous now. And we will get wealthier in the future, won't we?" Xiao Yunduan smiled and nodded with the load going off his heart. "True. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." Thanks. Qiao Xian smiled. "If I am not as wealthy in the future, I will turn to you for money. You have to create some wealth too." Xiao Yunduan could not help but feel his heart throbbing. As he saw her sparkling and black, large eyes, he nodded. "Of course, my earnings are all yours. I need to study now. I am going now." He tried to calm himself down as he left, making Qiao Xian chuckle. "Fight on, darling." Xiao Yunduan almost tripped over. In the afternoon, when eldest uncle returned home, he looked very happy. He said with a smile, "I just ran into my brothers. They said that we can celebrate the festival together tomorrow. We are eating at second brother's home tomorrow night, all of us." "What?" Miss Fang was startled. Eldest uncle seemed to show off when he walked in, speaking loudly. Both Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan heard him and everyone was really surprised. Xiao Sanlang responded with a sneer. "Dad, are you sure? You couldn't have heard it wrong, could you? It is such a rare event that second uncle invited us. During the past few years, the three sections of the family gathered for dinner at the first section of the family, and it had always been the first section who treated them all. The other sections had never offered even a single grain of rice. Sometimes they even complained about the size of the chickens, which were not enough for them. It was so surprising that the second section of the family would offer to treat them to dinner. What are you talking about? You should be careful with your words, you bridegroom-to-be. Eldest uncle glared at Xiao Sanlang angrily and then said with a smile, "I told you that they are not that stingy. They are treating us to dinner." Chapter 121. Bad People. Ms. Fang, he is really treating us to dinner, and he also said that we can just go there without bringing anything over. They are so kind. Don't say anything bad about them anymore, okay? Eldest uncle was so emotional when he spoke. This was exactly what he had been looking forward to. The whole family was in harmony and no one was taking advantage of each other. It was so nice. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan exchanged a look and understood why the second section of the family was suddenly asking them to eat dinner together. Qiao Xian pursed her lips and whispered, "I'm not going, it is really dangerous." Xiao Yunduan said, "Don't worry, Mom won't." Before Xiao Yunduan finished his words, Miss Fang snorted and said harshly, "You can go there if you want to. Ask your children if they want to." "I'm not going though, I don't want to die there." "What are you talking about?" Eldest uncle was surprised. He was so disappointed and felt as if cold water had been poured over his head. He shared this good news as soon as he walked in. He was in a hurry to highlight that his brothers were actually nice. He had not expected that Miss Fang would react like this. "You must go. You said that they were stingy, but now you don't want to go when they are inviting us to dinner. You are such a piece of work." Eldest uncle was really displeased. "Dad, you don't know what happened today? I guess that is why second uncle wants to treat us to dinner. We better not go there," said Xiao Yunduan. Eldest uncle was surprised. "What happened?" Miss Fang sneered and narrated the whole story. She had intended to tell eldest uncle about what happened today, irrespective of whether there was any invitation for dinner. She had gone through the story numerous times in her heart, so she finished the tale smoothly and fast. Eldest uncle. He was totally dumbfounded. He felt that the head was buzzing. Before he was able to think about it, he spilled out, "That can't be possible. Is there a misunderstanding?" "A misunderstanding?" Miss Fang's voice arose as she said angrily, The whole village heard them and they admitted it in front of the whole village. Now you are saying that it is a misunderstanding? In your eyes, everyone else is nice but me, right? I am a bad woman, am I? No, that is not what I mean. It is just, eldest uncle could not utter a word. He felt so messed up in his heart. How could that be possible? How could they do something so hurtful? Miss Fang answered coldly. From today onwards I am not going to get involved with them. Moreover, they are never going to get anything from me. I would rather throw everything in the water than share it with them. Eldest uncle opened his mouth but said nothing. But later in the evening, second uncle and third uncle came over, reminding them about the dinner. Eldest uncle was at a loss. He had no idea how to turn them down. He had never refused them before either. He was about to agree subconsciously. But Miss Fang turned them down directly. We have food at home. We will not be going over to your place. I can't afford to eat at your house ever. Chapter 122. Elder sister-in-law. Second uncle was not so confident anymore. He smiled and coaxed her. What are you talking about, elder sister-in-law? We are a family. We live separately. Miss Fang sneered. No one in our family is like this. Countered by Miss Fang, second uncle could not hold the pleasant expression anymore. He snapped angrily. Elder sister-in-law, what are you talking about? We all make mistakes. Ms. Niu has learned from her mistake and she is going to correct herself in the future. We are expressing our regret through dinner tomorrow night. You can't just ignore our sincerity. True. Third uncle added. Ms. Ma is apologetic about her mistake as well. She is not going to make the same mistake ever again. She likes to spread rumors, but she is not a bad person. Same goes for Ms. Niu. Elder brother, just talk to elder sister-in-law. We are a family and we will become a laughing stock for others around us, if we are not in a harmonious relationship. True, elder brother. Both second uncle and third uncle understood clearly what the eldest uncle wanted. They knew how to make him feel soft-hearted. They kept installing ideas into eldest uncle by saying sorry and how terribly they had behaved. Eventually, eldest uncle sighed. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma spread too much gossip. You have to watch out for them so that they won't make the same mistake again. I can drop it this time, but I will tear their mouths apart if it happens ever again. Miss Fang snorted. But we are not going to have dinner with you. We are siblings, but we need to have a clear account. We have our own children and grandchildren, and we should keep the matters separated clearly. We are not taking advantage of your families and you should never take advantage of us either. Not ever. We are going to live separately. Second uncle's and third uncle's faces changed. Elder sister-in-law, you are still blaming us? Miss Fang replied. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma hurt us so badly, why can't I remember this matter? Miss Fang did not want to ignore that, no matter what second uncle and third uncle said. She was still being reasonable by being polite. But if she gave in any further, it would be much harder for her to defend herself in the future. The second section of the family and third section of the family were trying to set her up. Their behavior was so annoying, especially when it came to the rumor that she was trying to get daughter-in-law's dowry. Miss Fang had been a strong woman all her life. She just could not stand this accusation. Both Xiao Dalong and Xiao Yunduan were silent. They were apparently taking Miss Fang's side. Eldest uncle intended to say something, but he had no one behind his back. Second uncle and third uncle left the first section of the family with sunk faces. How difficult it is to pursue a narrow-minded woman like this. Just drop it for now. We can talk about it in the future. Despite the anger, the two men did not think that Miss Fang would stick to that attitude throughout her life. They had a long way ahead of them. When the two uncles left the first section of the family, everyone at home went down to their own business. They behaved normally as if what had just happened was not so important, and as if no one cared about that. Eldest uncle felt weird inside his heart. He tried to talk it through so that he could offer his brothers a chance of correcting their mistake. But he did not get that chance. When the two uncles returned to their home, they blamed their wives for letting the rumor be heard by Miss Fang. She is the type who takes revenge, got it? Now she has this issue in her hands. With this, she can do whatever she wants in the future. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma were very annoyed as well. They did not mean to let the rumor spread. It was just a small talk. But for some reason, it sounded really big and bad in front of others. Miss Fang must have done it on purpose. Also, Widow Sun was the main culprit. But for her big mouth, nothing like this would have happened. That bitch was definitely going to be disciplined. Chapter 123 Shameless. On other hand, when Ding Qingqing and Widow Sun rushed home, they hugged each other and cried loudly. Widow Sun was so annoyed. She kept cursing behind the door, whilst Ding Qingqing continued to cry. The mother and daughter were living alone, so they felt isolated in fights and arguments. Mom, just don't get involved with those women who gossip, Ding Qingqing suggested. She felt so ashamed about what happened to them today. But Widow Sun, who was feeling annoyed, got further angry when hearing what Ding Qingqing said. She gave Ding Qingqing a poke on the head. You are terrible as a daughter. I'm doing all this for you. Otherwise, what am I doing in this broken village? Ding Qingqing got so upset that she shed tears. She just could not understand why this was for her sake. Widow Sun could not stop when she started to curse. You must be dreaming about Xiao Yunduan, aren't you? He is already married, so what are you fantasizing about him for? He is a cultivated talent, but he is never going to make it further than that. Ding Qingqing could not help but cry harder. No. You know that he is already married. What more can I do? You look down at cultivated talent, but who can be better than him? Ding Qingqing sobbed and went into the room, shutting the door behind. She really liked Xiao Yunduan. She had liked him since she was little. He was different from the other men in the village. He was quiet and clean, good-looking as well. She knew that he was a class apart. Look at what he had achieved. He became a cultivated talent at such a young age. But her mother did not like Ms. Fong, and when she mentioned that she wanted to marry him, her mother disapproved of it. When he made it to the cultivated talent level, she got so happy that she wanted to share this with her mother, and maybe her mother would change her mind. But before she was able to share the idea with her mother, he got engaged and soon married the daughter of the county magistrate. She spent the whole night crying in her blanket on his wedding day. She had no hope to be with him anymore. After that, she barely went out and she almost never saw him. Unexpectedly, they met under such circumstances. She got so nervous upon seeing him, but she felt even sadder. His wife was born in a rich family. How could she have compared to her? Also, her mother had such a row with his mother. The more she thought about this, the sadder Ding Qingqing felt. It was a dark night. Silence dominated the whole village. Everyone had gone to bed. A black silhouette came to Widow Sun's doorstep, glanced about and gave a push to the door. He flashed inside and chained the door from inside. After they had a good time together, Widow Sun leaned in his arms, speaking through clenched teeth. Miss Fong is horrible. You have to help me. The man hesitated but then consoled her. She is a bitch, what are you stuck with her for? I am here to be with you. You said that you need a silver hairpin. I've got it here with me today. Widow Sun was overjoyed but still felt quite upset. No, that is not enough. Are you afraid of them? Of course not. Then take revenge for me, otherwise I will not feel better inside my heart. Chapter 124 Chance. As the proverb goes, the county magistrate isn't that useful. Even if they have a daughter of the county magistrate and a cultivated talent, so what? You will always have the chance to bring them down. You can destroy them all and they would not be able to do anything about it. The man frowned even more deeply and turned impatient. Seeing that she did not want to give up the topic, the man said with a smile, Okay, I promise you that I will teach them a lesson whenever I have the chance. You have to find the chance. Okay, baby, let's just drop this topic, we can just... What? Oh, it was the Dragon Boat Festival. Early in the morning, Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan went out together. They went to watch the boat race in the county. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were excited and would have liked to follow along but Miss Fong turned them down ruthlessly. There were too many people at the race. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian would not be able to take care of them. What if something happened to them? The brother and sister did not insist either. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian took the bullock cart and went to the Yunshui River located in the south of the town. The Yunshui River was a major river and it was flowing across the whole town. The race was taking place on the broad side of the river, which was the best position for the race. There was nice scenery around and people often came here to ride horses and have fun, especially in spring. When the two of them arrived, there were already many people on both sides of the riverbank. It was bustling and people were well dressed. They started to talk and cheer around, making comments. It was the first time for Qiao Xian to experience such a bustling scene. She got really excited to be here. Her eyes were large and sparkling. She looked around curiously. Although there was no other entertainment in this era, the nature was pure and green, and she felt so happy to see all of this. Looking at her enthusiasm, Xiao Yunduan subconsciously slowed down and gave her a tour around, whilst thinking inside his heart, what a pitiful girl. She must have never been out in the town till now. After a while, the two of them were united with those from the school. Apart from Xiao Yunduan, some of the fellows also had their family members with them and they greeted each other. Qiao Xin looked very pretty and behaved amicably. She stood out among everyone else who knew about her background. So, they sized her up curiously and glanced at her on the sly. Most of them could not help but feel jealous and envious of Xiao Yunduan. Honestly, Madame Qiao and County Magistrate Qiao had never revealed what Qiao Xin had been through before she got married. After all, it was related to their reputation. Therefore, all they knew about her was that she had a noble background. Xiao Lulang felt even worse inside his heart. Some of his fellows liked to tease him because they knew that he was narrow-minded. They kept saying that Xiao Yunduan was lucky and talented, and that he was going to have a promising future. That made Xiao Lulang feel even more jealous. He swore to himself that he was going to bring down Xiao Yunduan on the occasion of couplet making today. He was going to let everyone understand that he was more talented than Xiao Yunduan, who had only pure luck on his side. Chapter 125 Face for them soon. Dean Meng and Mr. Zhou as well as Mr. Wu from Minghua College came over as well. All of them looked really excited. I did not expect that Officer Qiao would be here. He is hosting a banquet with County Officer Zhang ahead. Let's all go and celebrate with them. Oh yes, Madame Qiao and Lady Qiao are both here, so all of you should behave yourselves well. All the disciples looked both surprised and overjoyed. That is great. Yes, that is such a rare opportunity. Mr. Dean, don't worry, we will all behave well. As they were expressing their excitement, they could not help but look at Xiao Yunduan, and they could not help but feel even more jealous. Xiao Yunduan was Officer Qiao's son-in-law. It must have been for his honor that Officer Qiao had gathered everyone. Qiao Xian followed along with the group. Xiao Yunduan looked at her. He could not help but show worries on his face. Qiao Xian smiled at him and shook her head slightly. Don't worry, they don't want to be humiliated. They wanted to keep their facade and would not do anything to her openly. Officer Qiao was her father and the whole family was here, so she needed to greet them no matter what. Officer Qiao was having a great time with the folk and all the officers were watching the show. But they were in a very good position, where they were separated from the others, with guards standing by so the civilians could remain separated. It was a high spot in that area where the view was excellent. It was not very close or far away from the bank. It was the perfect place to watch the show, not crowded but bustling. So when the group came to this place they were far removed from noise. They all went up and greeted the honored guests. Officer Qiao looked chubby and white, wearing a kind and affable smile. He was greeting everyone with politeness, and even chatted for a bit with Dean Meng who was asked to take the seat. Qiao Xian bowed and greeted them as well. Hello, father, madam. Oh, you are here? Oh, all right. Officer Qiao was surprised to see Qiao Xian here and he almost burst out the question, who are you? As he looked closer, he noticed that it was the concubine's daughter. Otherwise he would have lost his face in front of so many people. Officer Qiao was very surprised. Somehow he sensed that his daughter seemed to look a bit different from before. No wonder he almost did not recognize her. But that was a momentary thought which did not lead to any further ideas. He barely met this daughter of his before and did not know well what she looked like. But Madame Qiao's and Qiao Wei's faces changed. Qiao Wei was almost going to snap at Qiao Xian, but for Madame Qiao's reminder, Qiao Xian smiled. You are here too, come and take a seat. Okay, madam. Qiao Xian smiled and behaved gently, walking towards the seat next to Madame Qiao with composure. After she took the seat, she looked up and met Xiao Yunduan's concerned look. She smiled at him, trying to console him. She was right. Madame Qiao would not humiliate her in public. Not everyone from the college had the seat, except for Dean Meng and some cultivated talents. All the others were standing behind the seats. But Xiao Lulang was different. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference. as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.